Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Just trying to get comfortable here. I just walked in.
Gotta get settled.
Welcome to the program, the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. Checking in with you early in the morning. What is it, 5:40 to be exact. You're a wonderful crowd. I'll tell you what, it's a big week around here. Not only is it Cubby's birthday week, Josh is going to go ahead and turn 50 years old on Thursday. But it's also Dana's wedding week. The sumbitch is going to check himself back into that asylum.
That's the headliner.
Come Saturday. But I don't know. Is it the headliner,
Yeah,
John?
I'm hoping you guys will forget about my birthday. And let's
We know
focus
that's
on
what
Dana.
you want, but we're not going to do that, Josh.
Just to be a dick?
No, because we want to celebrate you, because we love you, dude.
You got a weird thing about attention, specifically come time for your next birthday. It's interesting that you say that, trying to decide which is the main event or not. A couple people have asked me, which is the bigger deal, okay? Josh turns 50 on Thursday. Dana gets married on Saturday. A couple people have asked me which is the bigger deal. And I've said, well, Josh can only turn 50 once. And Dana's been married multiple times already.
That's
so
a good
you got to
point.
go with Cubby's 50th birthday.
Absolutely. And Josh, I haven't told you this yet, but my 50th birthday present to you, when we first met, I was going through a divorce. And I timed it out where I'm like, okay, I'm going to get remarried the weekend of Josh's 50th birthday so that I can take some pressure off of him because I know you don't like that type of attention.
You're a good man.
This is all for you, Josh.
You're a good man.
He hates the attention.
I have to call an audible here. I wasn't going to have a party. Then we were, and now we're not. But right this second, I've decided I'm going to have my party Saturday night. All my coworkers are invited, and if you don't show up, my feelings are going to be very hurt.
Well, I know where I'm going to be.
Where's that?
I'm going to be at your birthday party.
Sorry, Dana.
I barely know this other guy. So it's a big week for us. Lots going on. We got to get together an outfit. You know, you got to get all polished up, this and that.
I lucked out because I had a couple of events over the weekend, and one of them was dressy, so I've got my go to Dana's wedding outfit all set to go.
That's a good feeling, too, because I'm like you, Josh. I don't get dressed up very often, so I usually wait till the day of to try to dig something out. So that's a good feeling that you already have it ready to go and you know it fits.
Yeah, I'm set.
What were you doing at a dressy event?
My mother, God, and
Passed away?
I hate bringing this up. She had a church event on Saturday night. She has gone through all the classes to become a minister of the church, where she goes out and, tells people about God and whatnot that need some comfort. So this is a big thing for her Saturday night, so we were there.
Your mother is now a minister.
Yeah, it's not like a minister where she's up there leading. It's like part of a ministry, they call it. So if somebody's sick or somebody like Dana, who's recently married for the second time, she can dole out some advice and some scriptures and what.
And they had this event on Saturday night.
Yeah, Saturday night where a few of them, they went through this class, and they're all good to go.
I'll be damned.
Blessed by the congregation.
And you had to dress up for that.
Yeah.
See, I have my regular funeral and wedding outfit, and it works every time, right? Up until Dana sends out his invites, and there's something or another in there, a dress code comment in his invitation about no jeans.
Oh, was there?
Yep.
I missed that.
Yeah, cocktail attire.
That's
no
news,
jeans,
that's
no white.
news to me, too, by the way.
Do
Oh,
we...
no, because I have, dress jeans I was going to... Now I got to buy dress pants.
No. Just Do we get a pass?
Get a pass.
We get a pass, Josh. I was going to also act like I didn't read that.
You did have to go online to their wedding website to see it, I believe.
Okay.
Because that's where I found it. So
All right.
you could just say you didn't go on the website.
I'm glad you brought that up.
You're giving us a pass.
Giving you guys a pass.
So
absolutely.
can I wear shorts then?
You can wear whatever you want, Josh. It's your 50th birthday, for God dang. You can
So,
wear whatever you want.
I'm having a conversation with the wife a few days ago, and she says, is your funeral wedding outfit set to go for Saturday? And I said, yeah, except on the invite, it says no jeans. But then I thought to myself, I'm glad we officially got a pass from Dana. But even if you hadn't given us that permission, I remembered when you walked into my dad's funeral dressed like you were going to a Lynyrd Skynyrd tribute show, for Christ's sake.
That's true.
And I thought, you know what? The sumbitch didn't dress up for my dad's funeral. I'm wearing jeans at his wedding.
Can I wear a tasteful pencil skirt, or are there rules against that?
Yes, please, by all means.
A what?
A tasteful pencil skirt.
Tighter the better, Josh.
Oh, God. So all week long, it's a big week. Yes?
I'm glad you brought that up. Somehow I missed that.
Missed what?
The whole jeans thing.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason I checked is so that I could tell my fiance what to wear. And then he went out and bought some nice suit thing because he said every man should own a suit or some crap like that.
Yeah,
So
that's overrated.
it looks really nice though. I'm pumped.
Now I got to go buy some stupid pants.
No, you don't.
No. He just gave us permission to wear friggin' jeans.
Yeah, but then
dude.
we're going to be the jeans crew.
Don't care. Don't care.
Well, I'm guessing, Dana,
Yes.
maybe I'm wrong, but I'm guessing we'll be at the same table.
That would be correct.
So I'll just overdress so then it just kind of hides you guys.
I'm all right. I'm not looking to be hidden. These jeans that I own are so nice you can't even tell that they're jeans. So it's a hell of a deal around here. We got lots coming up. All week long up until Josh's actual birthday on Thursday. He'll be running down the top 50 moments from the first 50 years of his life. So stay tuned for that. Right, Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to put this right up there. This moment right
This
now.
particular moment.
We cracked the top 50 already. It's only Monday.
Dana, are you starting to get nervous?
No, I'm actually very excited.
I don't know how I could tell, though, because you've seemed nervous, just about every day since the first time I met you.
I am a very anxious person in general. There's no doubt about that.
So you're not feeling nervous?
No, I'm very excited.
All right.
Now everything is planned and you're done planning. So that takes a lot of the stress off.
For the most part, yeah. Everything's kind of looped up and wrapped up and buttoned up. And just looking, honestly, just very excited.
You going to make babies?
Potentially.
Dude, babies.
We're
That
not
day.
gonna not try. We'll put it that way.
Gross.
Are you going to quit radio and you and your wife are going to start a real estate business together?
Is that something that happens?
Well, it doesn't happen, but those are things that are said.
Oh, okay.
Those are things that are promised.
Oh, okay.
Those are reasons you quote-unquote retired while you were in your 30s to start this business, become an entrepreneur. You got enough funding to start it, and sometimes it just never happens.
I'm following along now. No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
How many people are attending your wedding?
About $150.
Josh and I need to know what kind of crowd we're up against. 150.
Will the officiant acknowledge my birthday at all during the ceremony? Is that presumptuous?
Awesome.
I told Josh this. Ashley, you met my friend Kelly, so you know her. She's the officiant of the wedding. And she asked me recently, she's been putting so much work into this. And she goes, wait, just let me get this straight. I think you've told me this, but Nick and Josh are going to be there? And I go, yeah. She goes, oh, man. Now I'm really nervous.
Why is she nervous? And by the way, thanks. I've met her as well.
Oh, okay. My bad.
So she's honestly nervous?
No,
like we're going to be judging the officiant of your wedding?
I will be.
She goes, there's going to be actual professionals there? And I responded, I go, Nick and Josh refer to themselves as many different things. I don't think professional is one of the words that they use for
I'm going to nitpick the hell out of everything that she says.
You should take notes and give it to her after she's done.
Just like the hecklers in the Muppets, kind of just
Sure.
ripping her from the peanut gallery.
But now that I think about all this, okay, so Josh canceled his 50th birthday party, which was going to be Friday. So your wedding better be fun because it's the only show in town now.
Now the pressure's really on.
At one point, during the, like maybe a silent portion of the whole ceremony, I want to pull in Norm Macdonald and just go, boring!
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
So there you go. You know, one of the best times I ever had at a wedding, and it was significant because I knew I was seeing something really rare. I knew I was seeing something that most folks would live their whole lives without having the opportunity to see. You know how folks talk about the high-maintenance bride who's hollering at everybody on her wedding day because she's stressed out and may possibly know that she's making a terrible mistake? One of the best times I ever had at a wedding was all because of the bride, and I didn't know her at all. I knew the groomski. I did not know the woman he was marrying. And the bride was presented with her wedding cake in front of everybody. Surprise. For whatever reason, I couldn't tell you because this is 30 years ago. I couldn't tell you why the bride was to be surprised by the wedding cake, but that was the plan. So it was bring her on out. Here it is. And she hated it. And she screamed out loud and ran away crying like a 5-year-old. And in that moment, holding in my laugh was the best ab exercise I had ever had in my life.
Oh, I wouldn't have been able to.
So, I'm trying to picture being that passionate about a cake. I mean, what specifically was
I have no idea.
Was it destroyed?
I have no
so
idea.
It's nothing where you'd leave the wedding and go, wow, that cake was kind of messed up.
Yeah, that wouldn't be your takeaway from the wedding.
I couldn't even see it from where I was standing. So I wish I could give you answers on why.
I mean, if it had like a swastika on it or something, I could see being very upset.
And don't most brides have final approval over things like that?
But it was supposed to be a surprise. And, you know, like I said, Josh, this was 30 years ago. I probably did pull the groom aside later on that night and said, hey, dude, what the hell happened with that? But I have no memory of if that happened and if it did what he said to me.
So it must not have been that bad.
That was awesome.
Maybe it was one of those situations where she was like other things went wrong throughout the day,
Well,
and then
like
that
I
was
said,
just the breaking
stressed
point.
out,
Yeah.
you know, she didn't want to be there. She knew this wasn't going to work. All of that piled into one. I doubt that. You're right. I doubt the cake was the 100% sole reason behind her meltdown. But I'm talking dead silence. And we even got to hear the clopping of her heels
No.
as she's running out of the room. Dead silence.
Oh.
That was worth
That
dressing
sucks.
up for. Worth dressing up for.
Ashley's wedding was beautiful. You guys did a great job planning that. The setting, everything was awesome. But it was a big disappointment because we predicted something crazy was going to happen with your friends and family and then that mix. And it was very cordial. Nothing did. Dana, I see yours going the complete opposite. So maybe we get lucky and there's some drama or some sort of bar fight or something that breaks out.
I'm telling you, this one is going to, knock on wood, obviously, is going to go very smooth. My first one was touch and go there until minutes before the ceremony.
In what way?
I had an ex reach out to me a couple months before the wedding, and she sent me a picture of like her at Zorba's. I was like, oh, you know, we used to go to Zorba's. I thought of you. We hadn't talked in 3 years since we broke up. And she goes, later on, she keeps texting me, kind of catching up, and she goes, okay, I'll be honest, that was intentional. I wasn't just thinking of you randomly. I've been thinking about you a lot. I think we should get back together. And I said, well, absolutely not. No.
What do you mean?
And she goes, I'm dead serious about this. I will file divorce papers if you give me your word that you'll call off the wedding. And I said, no.
You don't even want to think about it?
I thought about it. I'm only human, man.
You did think about
How
it.
much?
Okay, good.
How much did you think about it?
I thought about it. Then I thought about having to tell my friends and family that this ex and I, this specific ex, got back together, and I picture them all dropping dead, just because of how awful our relationship was the first time around. Like they would have been horrified.
How close was it? Meaning, if she were to ask you just one more time, do you think you would have broke off your wedding?
Well, no. See, that's the thing. The night before the wedding, she was calling me nonstop. the day of the wedding, leading up to the ceremony, she kept calling me.
I'd kill somebody.
I kept just letting it go to voicemail. Yeah, I probably should have blocked her number in hindsight.
So the first time you got married, she was bugging you then, too?
Right.
And now she's doing it again?
No. This is all from the first wedding.
Oh, I thought you were saying, I'm sorry, a couple
No.
days ago she started calling.
No. This was all during the first wedding to the point where I legit thought because she was going to show up at the ceremony.
That's a
and do
great
something.
story.
Yeah.
Better than Dana at Mario Kart Jesus said he plans to show up at your wedding this weekend, Dana, and challenge you to a game of Mario Kart for the bride's hand. Are you confident enough in Mario Kart that you will put your fiancé up as the prize?
No, absolutely not. And I love that. I love Better Than Dana Mario Kart Jesus specifically because that name, like, I've never claimed to be, I enjoy Mario Kart. I've never claimed to be really all that, impressive at it.
So he could probably smoke you.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he could.
That would
I mean, if this was 1999, maybe.
I think he used to call himself better than Ross at Mario Kart Jesus because Ross would talk about how great he was.
Yeah.
And I played Ross a couple times, and he was very good. I mean, I'm not a big gamer, but I do enjoy Mario Kart. He beat me going backwards.
Yeah, that was very humbling.
What a dick.
That'll make a man question some things.
Yeah, and I thought I was okay at the game, but yeah, he beat me going backwards.
Here's a listener who says, Dana, you're a drama starter. Never reply to an ex. What do you mean, never reply to an ex? Live a little, for Christ's sake. This guy. Of course he replied to an ex. I want to hear what kind of craziness they got in store for me.
Yeah, you are a nice person. I don't think I would have replied.
So this lady...
She was really hot, actually.
Yeah, you reply to the... do you at least reply to the hot ones, actually?
Oh, all right, yeah.
You reply to the hot
Of course.
Did she end up staying with her husband?
Yep, they're still together.
Oh.
Yeah, he has no idea.
You should just
Maybe
text
he does
him.
now.
Yeah.
Start some drama in his life. Text him today.
Yeah. But you did at least give it some thought.
I did, yeah.
All right, good. Mm-hmm. I remember many, many years ago, a pal of mine getting married, and we're all dressed up, the groomsmen, the whole schmear, everyone seated, the crowd, I mean. And we groomsmen and bridesmaids, or whatever the term is, we're all waiting in the wings for our grand entrance. And the music begins. We're ready to walk the aisle. And we're kind of sorting out, okay, right, you go first, and then I go. And I'm standing next to the groom. The music is playing. It's time. And he says, I don't know, dude. I'm not done. And I said, what? And he said, I'm not done yet. And I said, done with what? And he said, other women.
Oh.
And I said, hey, brother, the music's playing, so it's now or never. And he just kind of stared straight forward, and like Ric Flair, he walked that aisle.
That is. How are they doing? Are they still together?
Yes, they are.
Oh.
Wow, plot twist.
Gosh,
I was going to ask,
I can't imagine that.
was he right? So I guess he wasn't right.
Was he right?
Was he right when he said that?
Or were maybe other women done with him?
Yeah, that makes a difference,
It
right?
does.
He sucked it up and he walked that aisle. That was great. That was a cool moment.
I would be smirking so hard walking down the aisle. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd feel so uncomfortable with that information.
Was this predicted? Did you know this about him beforehand, or was it a shock?
Well, meaning that I know he was kind of a slut.
Did you know that he was not done in his mind?
I wouldn't have been surprised to hear it a couple months prior, but I was surprised to hear it on his wedding day. I was. Well, you're going to put on piles of weight, Dana, after you get married.
Probably.
They call it happy. Well, my wife calls it happy weight.
Happy weight.
Yeah.
A new report was put together about weight gain after marriage. It's bad news for the bros. Not that we care, but it says here, we are the ones, although hundreds of years of marriage jokes would lead you to believe the other way. We dudes are the ones who become just barrel-ass, pot-bellied slobs. And we're 3 times more likely to become obese
Well, once my
and then
Wow.
die young.
Jeez.
Once my wife said yes when I proposed, I canceled my gym membership the very next day.
I thought maybe you had it on your phone, like right there. As you said yes, you hit like click submit to cancel it.
Oh, this was pre-apps. I had to go in.
That's a good point.
I had to go in and cancel that thing. I was like, well, I trapped her now.
They're like, what's the reason for your cancellation? And you kind of hold up the ring, like, look at that, pal.
Got engaged.
We men are 3 times more likely to become just massive. And then we have a massive heart attack and we die. See you
That's our
Saturday,
plan.
Dana. See you Saturday.
So got that to look forward to. Or she has that to look forward to.
Oh. It says here, sure, women also put on some weight after marriage, but we dudes are the ones that just balloon up and we can barely cross the room.
Well, hey, that's cool because the dad bod's all the rage. Is it still in? Is that still fashionable, the dad bod?
My wife
think
has, or
so.
my future wife has never complained.
You're going to end up wearing sweatpant jeans.
Oh, that would be comfy.
That's a thing now. Did you hear about sweatpant jeans?
I need to
Isn't that
get
leggings?
some.
Are they leggings?
Or not, what are they called? Are they called leggings?
Talking about
joggers.
jeggings?
Joggers.
I don't know.
Joggers?
Is that
I would say
different?
joggers are just sweats.
I don't know what's what in the in the world of casual pants. I don't know the terms or what's what anymore, but what I'm reading is that there's a new thing called sweatpant jeans. Sweatpants that are made to look like denim jeans. Maybe look these up. Tell me how awful they look.
They look like jeans, that's for sure.
In my mind,
they've been around
In
for
my
a
mind,
while.
this looks. I'm picturing just the worst looking.
I don't
pant.
think you'd be able to tell.
Really.
Some of them you wouldn't be able to tell, but
The popular ones, I don't think you'd be able to tell.
Huh. Well, I guess I got to get a look at these. Maybe I should.
Are they for dudes, though? I've only seen girls.
Oh, I'm not 100% positive what set of genitalia goes inside sweatpant jeans. But they are available in a bunch of styles. High waist, wide leg. I like a little room for my legs, Josh.
Yeah, me too. I don't like tight jeans.
Low rise. Oh, I used to.
nice.
When I was a kid, I thought that was the only way to wear them. You can get high-waisted sweatpant jeans. My God, that's just the worst look on planet Earth. Wide leg, low rise. That's where it's at. You can get a torn pair of sweatpant jeans. Distressed, I think, is another word they use. Skinny jeans.
Dude, I need to get some sweatpants jeans.
You
That
really-
sounds so nice.
You like the looks of them?
I just would like to be comfortable.
Especially you being pregnant.
Yeah, I have like 2 pairs of leggings
Oh,
that fit me now.
I forgot.
The stomach's finally
You're-
starting to do stuff.
You're changing.
Yep.
I forgot.
Yeah, it's starting to pop out. Exactly what you wanted, Josh. You said you were excited for me to start showing.
Yeah, I was mad at you for not showing yet.
Yep.
I'm
I'm wearing like kind of a more fitted dress to Dana's wedding, so you'll definitely be able to see the baby bump.
Oh,
I also want you to have a fat baby. I think those are the cutest of babies.
fat babies?
Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Actually, if you start doing that move where when you take a photo, you put your hand on your stomach just to acknowledge the fact and for people later on when they see the photo that you're with child.
Yes. It's weird, Dana. It just like happens. Your hand just it gravitates towards your stomach. I always thought, oh, I wonder when I'll start doing it, and it happened when I wasn't paying attention.
Lots
Today-
going on in this program.
So you're probably not too far away from random people coming up and touching your stomach.
Yep. I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Has it happened yet?
I've had
Like
one
a
person,
family
but
member?
I've had a friend that did it. He just kind of like patted my tummy, and I kind of liked that because I was like, oh, that's the first time anybody's ever done that. That was kind of sweet. But yeah, I'm not excited about the strangers that are going to want to touch my stomach. Someone's going to get slapped.
I'm very happy to. I'm happy to say that I've never even entertained the thought of touching a random pregnant woman's stomach.
I
It's
have
odd.
not either.
No, me
I've
either.
heard from women who have been pregnant that it's a thing.
Yeah, especially with older ladies.
Yeah, older ladies, that's the big one.
Yeah, please don't touch me.
You could probably buy a shirt that says that.
Oh, definitely.
There's got to be a pregnancy shirt that says that.
What if Dr. P wants to put his ear up to the to your navel and see if he can tell what's going on in there?
Oh, he can. Oh, shoot. One of these times I have a baby Doppler at home, so you can hear the heartbeat at home whenever you want.
Baby Doppler.
Yeah, and I should bring that in one of the times Dr. P
Really?
comes in and see what he feels about
You
it.
can put it up to your belly and hear the baby's heartbeat even now.
Yeah. Oh, you can start as early as 12, 13 weeks.
F me
And
right.
now, since I was just 18 weeks on Friday, it's loud as heck.
Yeah.
I don't have to work for it anymore.
Man.
Angry postal worker Sheesa said she made her niece a sweatshirt that says, if you didn't put it in there, don't touch it. That's the shirt you need.
That is so awesome.
That's hilarious.
Love that.
Dr. P will be stopping by later today, I think. Am I right about that?
Yep.
Yes.
He's scheduled to be here.
He'll be stopping by for the love of Pete. We'll talk to Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder, of course, right around 7:30. I can give you an update on how all of our significant others are doing in our significant other NCAA basketball tournament bracket challenge. It's a close race. Close race. Some people are doing really, really well.
That's great.
Although they just picked the wrong national champion, which is going to come back and bite them in the ass in due time. But we'll check in on that. What did I say otherwise? I forgot one thing. Stupid news is what will be coming up next here on the Half-Ass Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, X-Pac.
Getting suspended in school, that's the number one thing people, when they meet me, they tell me.
I got detention.
Yeah, everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, Liv Morgan.
I couldn't believe that was my time. I was so grateful.
Talking about living dreams. No pun intended, TJ. Relax.
I rarely do these anymore, but I was really looking forward to this.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Not making any sense. I'm freezing, but I just took my coat off. I'm not making any sense.
Why'd you do that?
I get hot flashes, too, where my coat's on, it's off, it's on, it's off.
Just getting started around here. Stupid news, huh? I'm looking forward to it. I always do. A couple down there in Louisiana had a little food fight a night or two ago. What started as a verbal argument escalated into a banquet of violence. Good old 58-year-old Willie Cook is the feller's name involved. He and his wife, they started hollering back and forth for one reason or another. The two of them have been married for 34 years, so they've had enough of each other at this point. Who could blame them for that?
Yeah, that's too long.
Kind of funny, it's food related, and his last name is Cook. That works out pretty good.
Sure. They've had enough. 34 years. So they're screaming back and forth. Willie, he effed up, though. After arguing with his wife for a stretch of time, he took to tossing food at his old lady. Food that she had prepared. He tossed everything. He tossed her salad. But that wasn't all. He even sidearmed a metal spoon in the direction of his wife, and it hit her upside the skull.
I bet that smarts.
Yeah. And the cops came over to find out what gives. They saw food all over the place on their bed. That's apparently where the fight started. Which makes me wonder if they were involving food into their sexual activity, which I've always been 100% opposed to, just for the
I
record.
hope not.
That's where I eat the
gross.
majority of my meals.
Oh.
Maybe they're just in the same boat there.
I do, yeah, I eat a lot of meals in bed, too. I suppose that could be. And
It's
they're
the
not,
best place to eat them.
yeah, they're not kids anymore. Willie's 58. So they probably weren't, using food into their sexual lives. The cops also saw a small lump on the back of the wife's noggin where that spoon had smoked her. Now, Willie must be a lawyer or something, because when the cops positioned themselves to put Willie under arrest for assaulting his wife, Willie declared that it was, quote, not a crime to throw food on his wife. When the cops told him that it actually was a crime to throw food and other things on his wife, Willie said, oh, and he was arrested for domestic abuse battery.
I had no idea.
Oh, my bad.
I've never been in a food fight. Seems like a rite of passage, but never once.
Never had one of the full-on, like you see in the movie types, but we would whip some stuff at each other here and there in high school.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been in a full-on food fight either in my lifetime, Josh.
Was it Motley Crue that was rumored to throw deli meat at naked women? Or was there some rock band?
That sounds
I don't
completely
know.
right.
You might have to go back to Zeppelin or something. I don't know.
We had one at my high school during my lunch period, but I did not get involved.
You're like, no, I'm saving. This is good food.
I don't want to get in trouble. Because I knew there wasn't enough kids where you weren't going to get in trouble. And I thought I'd like to walk at graduation.
So if the whole bedlam had broke out, every single table throwing food, you would have joined in at that point?
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun.
By the way, Willie sat in the county jail for a couple days so he could cool off, and then they sent his ass home. All I can come up with, Josh, and I'm very proud of this moment from my life. Oh, by the way, people are telling me that sex while incorporating food is called splooshing.
So a gross act has an even grosser name?
Yeah, I hate that stuff. Whipped cream is as far as I'll go.
Oh, that's what turned me off of it.
I know, because the taste is...
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
No.
What
happens
It gets
there?
old fast.
Yeah.
Whipped cream, whether you're eating it off of your lover or not, gets old fast. It has to be mixed with something, like something sweet. But anyway, I've never been a food and sex guy. As a matter of fact, I get quite queasy just talking about it. If ever I see food incorporated in a porno movie, I just want to, oh, God, it makes me sick. Those two things should be very separate. But anyway, the only thing that I can come up with as far as a food fight story is this, and I am very proud of this. My old pal, Curtis, he and I and a few other derelicts were at this big outdoor bonfire showdown type of a party when we were maybe 19 years old. And we stayed up all night. The sun's coming up, and there's only a few of us left. I believe my brother was still awake, I was still awake, and Curtis was also seated around the bonfire. Huge bonfire. So Curtis and my brother are on the opposite side of the bonfire from me. And it was huge. And, we're just drunk and young and stupid. And I look down, and there's a half a bratwurst at my feet that must have been grilled up 14, 16 hours earlier. Charred black bratwurst at my feet. And again, just being stupid and looking to do something fun, I picked up that charred bratwurst, and I threw it as hard as I possibly could at Curtis. I hit him square in the balls, and he instantly vomited into the bonfire. And it was one of the greatest accomplishments of my life up to that point. This was the order of events. Bratwurst hits him in the nuts. Curtis does this. Oh, no. And then he throws up into the bonfire, and I thought, I'll remember this for the rest of my life.
And there must have been nothing more satisfying. Because not only did you make contact with him, you made contact with him in the nuts.
Perfect. I mean, I hit square.
Is that what you were aiming for, or it just kind of happened that
I was
way?
just trying to peg him in the chest or something as hard as I could.
So you hit him in the nuts perfectly, as you say. And for a lot of people, that'd be enough right there. That sense of accomplishment, you just got your buddy with a brat right in the balls.
Then he laughs.
Then he laughs for a second, and you're like, oh, this is fun. And then the icing.
Yep.
comes out of his mouth.
That was incredible.
You know, I've always, you get that feeling, right? You get hit in the nuts. Ashley, you know this, and you feel like you're going to puke, right? The nausea, but I've never seen it happen. I didn't even know what could happen.
That sounds miserable.
Well, he did have about 26 old Milwaukees in him.
I'm sure that added to it.
God, that was great.
Does he remember it as fondly as you do?
We bring it up every once in a while.
I bet, yeah. I mean, even if that happened to me, it would have sucked in the moment, but I think that'd be one of those things I look back and enjoy and celebrate.
That'd be a fun memory for me as well.
Yeah.
We bring it up. All right, for Pete's sake, we should leave surgery to the professionals, shouldn't we, Josh?
That's a good idea.
Although you tried self-surgery once or twice, didn't you? You attempted to remove a wart?
Yeah, it was
Skin
wasn't
tag?
a wart. It was a mole.
Mole.
And a raised mole. And I went to the doctor, and then the doctor's like, well, we could do this or this, and it's going to cost this much. So they ended up freezing it off, which was the cheaper option, or attempting to, but it didn't work. And the other one they said they were going to do was just, shave it off. And I thought, well, I got a razor at home. I could take care of that. And I thought I was going to bleed to death. I had no idea there was going to be that much blood.
Did you use the old pumice stone to try to file it down a little bit?
No, I used a razor.
So you went straight up, full on, went out with the razor.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be that much of a ordeal. But I did think, well, I'm going to bleed out here from trying some home surgery.
This is how I go.
I also attempted self-surgery, home surgery, whatever you want to call it, a few times. When I was a kid, I was warty for a while. My hands got warty. So I attempted to remove them with knives and things like that, and all I accomplished was to create, like Josh was saying, a pool of blood on the floor deep enough to warrant a no-wake buoy. And the wart would come right back. After I would saw it off, it would come right back. That battle lasted for a few years, and then one day they were just gone.
I've never had a wart. Do they hurt?
No.
Itch?
No.
Stink?
No.
Talk?
No. God, that would have been incredible. No, they
control your mind.
They're just there. And I was very bothered by it at first because they were on my hands. They were visible.
Oh, yeah. I understand that.
And then, like I said, they lasted 2-3 years, and then one day they were gone. All the freezing, we tried that, and they would remain. So
I always loved watching that.
If you're a young kid and you're warty, odds are one day you're going to wake up, they're going to be gone. Don't be cutting yourself open. You always enjoyed what?
Enjoyed watching. My brother had a wart on his knee. It was a large one. And him and my mom would always try to get it to go away. I don't think it's there anymore. I think they eventually were successful. But they would sit there and with that spray, try to freeze it off, put duct tape on it.
Did you touch someone who had warts, or do you know how you got them?
I do not. I don't know how I got them. Is that a real thing that you could?
I thought so. I thought it was like HPV or something like that.
No, I
could be very,
It
very
was a long time ago. A doctor
Yes,
may.
Dr. P.
Oh, yeah. Write that down for Dr. P.
You'll be joining us.
I may have been told when I was 13, 14, how I got them, but I don't recall that conversation. Anyways, this is much more dramatic. The story that I have in front of me. A dude in India performed surgery on himself after watching a YouTube tutorial. And it didn't go well at all. 32-year-old feller, Kumar is the name. It says here he was tired of constant stomach pain and wanted to cure himself. So he locked himself in a room, and then he went ahead and cut himself open. Word is he bought some type of surgical blade at the drugstore or something like that. He carved a 7-inch hole on the lower right side of his stomach. But no problem, right? He knows what to do. He saw it on YouTube. He cut himself too deep. He did. It was an instant blood dump. He was suddenly in a hell of a lot of pain. He knew he had effed up bad. But he still wanted to go the DIY route, so he tried to stitch the wound himself. He sucked at that too. And after a while, Kumar had to be rushed to a hospital by his nephew who found him laid out in a pool of blood like Tim Roth's character in the movie Reservoir Dogs. Kumar had been suffering from appendicitis for years and years. He had undergone surgery when he was a 14-year-old kid. Apparently, the appendix pains had really been pissing him off lately. And maybe also in an effort to save money, he went ahead and attempted to straighten things out by himself. He's currently in the hospital. I believe he's doing all right.
I love YouTube. I've learned a lot from YouTube. Watch it pretty much every day just to kind of learn something. I'm surprised, and it's crazy because whatever appliance you have or what somebody has put something on there, how to do whatever minor thing to major thing to fix it.
Right.
I never would have guessed they'd have home surgery videos on YouTube.
I've never looked that up.
I think you got to pick and choose.
I've never bothered looking that kind of thing up. What's the most useful video you've ever watched on YouTube? As far as, like you said, learning how to fix something, learning about a new product. We'll skip the dirty jokes for now. Like, what's a video you've watched on YouTube that's really applied itself into your personal life?
Definitely, like learning how to use certain computer programs and things like that.
Yeah.
Some pretty, detailed stuff.
I don't spend a lot of time searching for educational things like that on YouTube. I'm usually watching an old Van Halen concert, or like I said, I'm into police videos lately. But I did discover a product on there that has become very useful, and it's just the stupidest thing in the world. It's just a little tube that helps you remove your lawnmower blades more easily. And I found that on YouTube, and I use it every season, and I love it. Other than that, it's, like I said, Van Halen videos and top-heavy women being arrested for DWI. This year seems like a little much to me, but I don't know. I never went to college. At the University of Central Florida, the frat bros from the Sigma Chi fraternity, don't you know? Sigma Chi, bruh. They've been accused of hazing.
A frat?
It's true. Terrible, terrible hazing. But this is not maybe what you're picturing with the soggy sailor and the this and that. They've been accused of hazing where they were supposedly running over pledges with their cars.
That's a little further than hazing.
That's just a crime.
I mean, that sounds like a pretty funny idea, but you think you'd stop after the conception of the idea. Is there, what'd you say, Sigma Chi?
Sigma Chi, brah.
Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Isn't that what they say?
No. You're thinking of Cobra Kai.
Oh, that is Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. They've been running pledges over with their cars, according to the story. And to nobody's surprise, except for the 20-year-old donkeys that belong to the fraternity, some poor kid got mangled. So, as we speak, the bros at Sigma Chi are under temporary suspension, whatever that means. Cops had to stop by their frat house a couple weeks ago because the hot babes at the nearby sorority witnessed a dude getting smashed into pieces by a car. One of the Kappa Alpha Theta, is that how I say it? Theta?
Yep.
Okay. One of the Kappa Alpha Theta sisters called campus police at about 3 o'clock in the morning. She heard and saw a gray Kia run a kid smooth over.
Oh, that must have been so traumatizing to watch.
Then she heard the kid yell, "Help! My bones, they're broken." "I'm cold," the kid said. "I'm so cold." So I guess what the cops say is this. The Sigma Chi brothers had forced new members or pledges to stand in front of cars while established members of the frat ran them over, while some of the other established frat dudes drank cough medicine and cranked EDM songs or something.
There isn't a single brain cell between all of these gentlemen.
It doesn't sound that way if this is all true. The frat boys are trying to say they have no idea what the police are talking about. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're right, though, Ashley. Everyone involved in this, let's say it happened, everyone involved is pretty stupid.
Yeah, you're
There
right, Josh. On
wasn't
both
one.
ends.
Yeah.
Like being okay with that happening to you and wanting to be the person that does it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Or even being the person that's enjoying, as Nick said, drinking the cough medicine, watching this take place.
Like, somebody is going to die. What are we doing, guys?
Yeah, well, kids have died already from this kind of silliness. Cops couldn't find the pledge who was allegedly crushed by the car. And I'm guessing because he's been told to shut his yap. You know, he still wants into this frat. It's very important to this kid. So I'm just guessing that he was told to shut his yap, or they'll put a Ritz cracker between his ass cheeks or shave his pubes or whatever these effing clowns do for fun. It's all under investigation, Cubby.
That must be it, right? They ran out of all the things they can shove in a butt.
Yeah.
So they decide we got to move on.
I only went to one frat party when I was young, and I think we were there for 15 minutes. You know,
Same here.
I was expecting something out of the ordinary because of movies, and it was nothing special, and so we left. Now, I'm guessing if I would have stuck around, maybe I would have seen something extraordinary. One of my old pals has a decent frat story. His first time going to a frat, they had a keg party, and he says to whoever was running things, you know, I'd like to buy a glass for the keg. And the frat guy says, okay, hey, this dude wants to buy a glass, everybody. And they're all like, oh, no, here we go, dude. And he said, my buddy's looking around like, why is this a spectacle that I want to buy? And they were like, okay, if you want to buy a glass, you got to run through this obstacle course. And then you got to show this girl your D. And then you'll get a glass. And my buddy said, how about I hand you $5 and you give me a glass? And that wasn't enough.
Sign up for activities. That's what
Yeah,
it was.
no.
If you wanted to earn a solo cup for that. The other hazing story that I have is one that I know, I've told before, but a good old friend of mine was a Division I athlete, hockey player. And it's a damn shame that this is the way it played out, but this is the way it played out. When he was a freshman, he and the 5-6 other freshmen that made the hockey team were pulled aside by the upperclassmen at a party and said, okay, tonight's your night. You got to do the soggy sailor, and you got to touch each other's dongs, and you got to do all these ridiculous things that you've heard over the years about hazing, whether it be a fraternity or a ball club or whatever. And my pal just smooth said, I'm not doing any of it. And they like, no, dude, you have to do this. And he said, there's absolutely, and he was a big dude, maybe the biggest guy on the team. And he said, I'm not doing it. I don't care what you ask of me. I'm not doing it. And unfortunately, the upperclassmen treated him like garbage the whole couple of years he played there. They never acknowledged him the way they acknowledged the other younger players, because he would not stick his finger in somebody's butt and lick this or whatever. And I mean, it's obvious why those players held that against him, because they didn't have the balls to take a stand when they were freshmen.
That's definitely why.
And even his other freshman teammates didn't really invite him to things. They stayed mad at him for
That's
2
ridiculous.
years because he had the nuts to say, look, I'm willing to do anything for this team to win, but I'm not going to 69 with Donnie over there while you guys take pictures because you think it's friggin' funny. It sucks.
I'll never understand those things.
I'm sure there are many, many, many people who have gone through the same thing.
Yeah, it's also silly. I've never understood the appeal. There was a big hazing scandal at our school. I mean, relative scandal, meaning it was something people talked about in the community. It wasn't like it made headlines, but
High school?
Yeah, high school. And I remember just thinking like, okay, yeah, I get it. You're a senior. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm a freshman. Okay, draw your black mark on me, whatever you want to do. Just get this over with. It was just really dumb.
We got hazed, but it was really fun because I was a freshman when my brother was a senior. And so him and his buddies, they would, we had this tradition where seniors would kidnap the freshmen. So late at night, they'd like go into their bedroom, take them from their bedroom. The parents were always in on it.
Oh, okay.
And you'd mess with them all night. And then their reward is that you'd take them to Perkins or Denny's in the morning before school. And I had a blast because it was my brother and all his buddies, and all we did was just smoke a bunch of weed and then eat Perkins.
Yeah, I'd do anything for a tremendous 12.
It was so much fun. Like, I wanted them to keep doing it.
Hey, Josh, back to this kid who was getting run over by cars as part of his, how do you say it, initiation into the frat. Mouse and Jesus wonders if this pledge is in his room right now watching a YouTube video on how to fix his broken bones.
Bet there's one up there.
Here's a kid who, a grown man now, magic filmmaker Jesus, got saran wrapped to a tree upside down in high school,
down.
part of a hazing. See, there's some fun there. It's all this butt fingering and bodily fluids and then obviously overt violence that I have a problem with.
Or even the drinking until you're at like a 0.4. What are you doing?
Oh, God, that's the worst. And kids just up and die.
Especially like college frats, because you're paying to be a part of that frat.
Is that how it works?
Oh, you have
Yes.
to pay to be a part of
yeah.
it?
Absolutely. A lot of money.
I never knew that.
Are you serious?
It's like a second tuition for some big schools.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why people always make the joke that, they're buying friends.
Right, yeah, that's how people say, are you in a frat? No, I know how to make friends on my own. I don't need to pay for them.
Never knew that.
Wow. Really?
I just thought you had to be good looking and trendy.
No, you just gotta have daddy's money.
My nephew, he was a part of a frat, and they had like a budget they had to contribute to every single month. He wasn't in like one of the super serious ones, so most of it was like booze money, stuff like that. But still, it was pricey for a college kid.
So
And sororities too.
Are you sure it's not just like room and board they're paying for?
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're paying room and board, but it is much more than just if you're going to live in the dorms or living in an on-campus apartment.
So, okay, I had no clue. I'll have to ask. So my kid's boyfriend, he was in a frat. I'll have to ask him about that. I had never heard that before.
No, it's nothing I've ever taken an interest in. I had no idea. Well, speaking of the fraternity sorority life, speaking of the college crowd, everybody has been talking about a Georgia sorority girl ever since the godless and wildly misinformed internet got a look at her, quote, flawless mugshot. And she is, by damn, is a foxy lady. Lily.
Oh, yeah. She could be a model easily.
Lily Stewart is her name. She's 20. Says here she was driving to a birthday party on a rural back road. Again, she's a Georgia sorority girl. She was driving to a party on the back roads earlier this month, and she got pulled over for speeding. The officer gave her a ticket. He filed the moment in time into his spank bank and allowed Lily to continue on her way to the party. But then Lily must have an attitude problem. And I know what you're saying. A good-looking 20-year-old college kid with an attitude problem or a sense of entitlement? That's ridiculous. But it says here, as soon as the cops let her off the hook, she started driving like a jackass all over again. The cop, who was already missing her after only a couple of minutes, I'm sure, pulled her fine ass over again, and this time he wanted to keep her. He arrested her for being a pain-in-the-ass, reckless driver, and that is how her pretty-looking mugshot came into play. So the godless internet is obsessed with this gal's mugshot. What's the website, Josh, that has been doing this routine for years?
With mugshots?
Yeah.
Well, Smoking Gun does.
That's it, Smoking Gun.
Yep.
they've had separate categories for the gorgeous people.
And then on Fridays, they have a mugshot. I think what they do, they call it just maybe it's Friday morning mugshot. I can't remember. But basically, you match the mugshot to the crime. I think back in the day, that's how it happened.
That would be fun.
That's fun.
So, before this mugshot has even cooled off, this Lily gal has been arrested again. So this is her thing, right? This is how she's choosing to become famous?
Oh, absolutely. That's why she's back at it.
Yeah.
For sure. She realized how much attention she got.
Right. So now it's time to become really internet famous. The first time she was arrested, I just told you about that, was earlier this month. Now, just a day or two ago, she was arrested again.
She should have kept it at 1 because her new mugshot, she's obviously still very pretty, but she looks insane. Absolutely insane.
I didn't get a chance to see
Here, let's see if I can turn it.
the second one.
Look at her eyes.
The eyes.
Yeah.
Always the
That's
eyes. Oh, yeah, now she looks like a crazy lady.
not. My gosh, she has a perfect profile, though.
She has pretty...
Wow.
Profile is perfect.
What the heck, girl? Jealous.
She's got pretty hair.
You're better looking.
Thank you.
Both of you.
It's not true. But
So
thanks.
she's back now with a fresh mugshot. And like we were saying, it's obvious that this is the path she's chosen to become a somebody. She was busted by cops in Georgia a couple days ago. She was obstructing, how do I say that? Charges of obstruction of a law enforcement officer, loitering, prowling was one of her charges. It says here she's still in jail, but I don't know if that's true. This story's a day old. She's got to be out by now. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe she's not out. Her bail was $4,000. I don't know. Is that a lot of money for bail? I've never been to jail.
Well, don't you just pay a percentage
so.
of that?
Oh.
Yeah.
So anyway, her very first podcast episode will likely debut later this week.
Oh, she's already done a lot of interviews.
Oh.
TMZ talked to her, a few other
I've never been talked to by TMZ.
few other sites like that. Yes, to answer some questions, the mugshot is up on 93x.com.
People are talking or texting in about, I love following that mug shotties. That's fun. We've talked about them a couple times on air.
Oh, yeah, they do that too, right?
Yep.
Who does that?
Mug shotties.
Mug shotties.
Like MUGSHAWTYS.
That's on X or Instagram?
I know it's
Social
on
media
Instagram.
somewhere.
It's probably on X too, I imagine.
Hot people and their mug shots. You can find it all over the internet.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh,
Who is that guy? The hot felon or whatever they call him?
Oh, I remember that dude.
He
That
was
dude got ass.
Oh, yeah, Jeremy Meeks.
that's,
I don't remember him.
Oh, you got to take a look at this guy. He's stunning.
This guy is known for being very attractive and constantly in trouble with the law.
Oh, jeez. He's gorgeous.
Oh, I recognize
Is that a
guy.
teardrop tattoo?
It sure is.
Has he done terrible, terrible things?
I could fix him.
Hey, you're not married again yet.
I'll have to look these people up.
He was, I thought he was like a Crip.
Oh.
And he was part of an arrest there.
Something else I've never been invited to be a part of.
Crips?
TMZ, fraternity. No one's ever asked me to be a member of the Crips.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
I bluffed him. I done everything. Beat him up. Basically for about 5 or 6 rounds. I thought it was easy. Then about the 6th round, he whispered in my ear after I'd hit him in the side, "That all you got, George?"
He's speaking of the Rumble in the Jungle. George Foreman and Muhammad Ali, 1974, if I'm not mistaken. Everybody thought George would whoop his ass. Big George checked out over the weekend.
That's
Big
too
George
bad.
Foreman. He was a good man.
It really was.
I loved that guy. Always had a smile on his face.
Big time.
We'll talk about the wonderful life of George Foreman once we get Dinkus and other Dinkus on the line at 7:30. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder. Although I never thought much of his little grill.
Oh, really?
Oh, I love that. That kept me alive in college.
Everything turned out tasting like smoke. Maybe I got
I didn't have that problem.
What's the word you use in the business? Maybe I got a lemon. But everything just turned out tasting like smoke.
I always wanted one.
1 year for Christmas, I got two separate versions of the George Foreman grill.
You had chickens going on one end of the house.
Burgers
and,
on the other.
Burgers on the, but I loved him very much, George Foreman, and we'll talk about his passing coming up. Pigs play tonight. Wolves play tonight at 7:30 when those guys show up I was telling you about. We'll check our significant others brackets as we have now moved to the Sweet 16 portion of the NCAA basketball tournament. Josh's news coming up next.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
Jim Rome takes on sports.
I've been doing this show for decades and decades and decades.
With rapid-fire takes.
Learn how to stop it, learn how to run it, or at least make a good argument. I don't even like to play. I've never fought so hard to defend something I don't like.
Scorching debates.
You can beef about anything you want. Why are you pushing me?
He's the Spitfire of sports smack.
Just so you all know, this is no one-off. This is what we're going to get every single day.
Let's go, Jim!
Let's go!
The Jim Rome Show podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-assed morning show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock and roll rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, you know?
I don't think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
It's target practice for George Foreman. It is target practice. Frazier is ready to go again. Joe is standing. There he goes 3 times. It is over. It is over. It is over in the second round. George Foreman is the heavyweight champion.
76-year-old George Foreman, one of the most influential and recognizable boxers of all time, died on Friday, sadly. Foreman, who captured Olympic gold in 1968, was a 2-time heavyweight champion and Hall of Fame boxer. Among his most famous fights were the Sunshine Showdown against heavyweight champ Joe Frazier, where he scored a TKO in the second round. But his most iconic match was the Rumble in the Jungle, October 30th, 1974. He went head-to-toe with Muhammad Ali. Though Ali won, the exposure and legacy of the fight made Foreman a household name. Eventually, he used his celebrity to become the entrepreneur behind the famous George Foreman Grill.
Had a busy day? My lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine is great to come home to. It lets you prepare hot, delicious meals in just minutes.
Dinner's ready, George.
I'm so proud of it, I put my name on it.
And his name meant a lot. The George Foreman Grill was a hit.
I never expected it to be so successful. And then all of a sudden, the checks just started rolling in. This thing sold over 100 million.
At one point, checks were coming in for upwards of like $4 million monthly.
5 million.
Damn. Dude.
That's crazy.
Foreman announced his retirement and began a career as an ordained minister after boxing.
What a life.
$5 million a month.
You're right, though, Josh. You mentioned earlier that you just can't help but smile when you saw the guy.
Oh, he seemed just like a neat dude.
Mm-hmm.
5 sons named George, 7 daughters, one of them Georgina. A little girl in New Jersey's sharp thinking and sharper pencil helped her narrowly escape an attempted abduction on her way to school last week when she stabbed her attempted kidnapper in the face.
Very concerning.
That's tough. I wish I was out here. As a father, it's scary.
Around 8:45 a.m. Wednesday, a man came up behind the tough 8-year-old and tried to grab her, but she fought back, managing to break free by stabbing him in the face with a pencil and then run to safety. In response to the incident, the school district placed schools on heightened security while police stepped up patrols in nearby neighborhoods.
Well, they'll know who to look for.
Yeah, the guy with the number 2 pencil sticking out of his eye.
The guy's lead poisoning.
And that's exactly what the cop said to local hospitals. Hey, look for a guy that had a pencil to the face. That's our man. And Ohio teachers on administrative leave after taking an unusual and some say unsettling approach to checking a student's homework last week. The 35-year-old teacher at Hull Prairie Intermediate School followed a student's bus home Wednesday to make sure they completed an assignment. But what started as a motivational gesture, he said, concerned the student's parents enough that they called police.
The student's father arrived home to find the teacher at the front door. The teacher reportedly said he was confirming the student completed their assignment because the class would receive a pizza party if all students finished the work.
Alarmed, the family contacted the principal, saying they were caught off guard and found the visit, quote, really weird and very concerning. The teacher later told officers he sometimes checks in with students this way.
No, that's not how it works, dude.
Don't do that, dude.
No.
The family was not comfortable with that surprise visit, especially since the school already uses an online portal to communicate with teachers. That teacher has been placed on leave while police continue their investigation, but for now, no charges have yet been filed.
Yeah, my parents would have definitely called the cops, too.
That's odd. Very odd.
I mean, come on. A pizza party was up for grabs, okay?
That's an
Desperate
email.
times.
That's an email at the most. Federal agencies are digging into a close call at Orlando International after a Southwest Airlines jet almost took off from a taxiway instead of the runway last week. A potentially dangerous mistake, thankfully caught just in time by air traffic control.
He was on the taxi lane and decided to take off, and it was not where you take off, and then jammed on the brakes, and we just went flying.
Airport
You got
officials.
a rookie behind the wheel there, Cubby, or what?
Well, I don't know. I talked to a pilot Saturday. I was at an event, and there's a party there, and or a pilot there, and he said, I asked him, is this something where it sounds worse than it is? He said, absolutely not.
This is as dumb as it sounds.
He heard that they were gone and never going to fly again. I didn't see that in the story.
So there's no chance the guy just flipped the wrong switch.
That's what I had asked. Like, is it possible at certain airports to confuse them? And maybe if there's a pilot listening, they can tell me different. But just from what he told me, that no. He's like, nah, that is not something that would normally ever happen and not easy to do.
I bet it scared the piss out of those baggage handler dudes that are down there.
Yeah, and the air traffic controllers, they were very alert, luckily. Airport officials clarified taxiways are the paths planes use to move around the airport, like gates, hangars, and runways, not for takeoffs or landings. According to officials, the flight had been cleared for takeoff but began accelerating on a nearby taxiway after the crew mistakenly identified it as the runway. But controllers spotted the error quickly and stopped the jet.
Stop was 3278, stop.
Southwest says it's fully cooperating with both the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board as they investigate how that mix-up occurred.
Well, it sounds like an easy mistake to make.
I bet I could make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like a mistake I'd make on Flight Simulator 97 back on Windows when I was 11. Not as something a grown professional who's trained should be making.
Love that game.
I did too.
A 20-year-old flyer is suing United Airlines, claiming a pilot got him arrested after yanking him out of the bathroom with his pants still down because he was taking too long while constipated. Under 30 minutes into a flight from Mexico to Texas, the young traveler got up to use the restroom. But after about 20 minutes passed and he still hadn't returned, his seatmate flagged down a flight attendant concerned about his well-being.
God dang.
The passenger explained he was simply constipated and would be out shortly. But another 10 minutes later, the pilot demanded he get out immediately. Enraged, the pilot stormed down the aisle himself, broke down the door, and yanked the pooping passenger out while his pants were still down.
Wow, this pilot is something.
Exposing the rest of the cabin to his crotch. As the passenger scrambled to pull his pants up, the pilot threatened him and his seatmate with arrest, and that's exactly what happened. Once the plane landed, 5 U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents boarded that aircraft and took both men into custody. Now they're suing for damages plus attorney's fees, with the final amount to be determined in court.
That's ridiculous. There's no reason to arrest these guys.
Yeah, I don't
There's
get that.
certainly no reason to pull somebody out of the john with their nuts hanging out.
Yeah, I don't know how much of a security concern it is, but the dude was having some issues there. And
Yeah, if I'm in there, just leave me be. I'm in there for a reason.
I don't know how you prove it. I don't know what's going on, but they were saying it's kind of weird that the pilot went off like that.
He must have been having a long week.
From cutting the cheese to saying it, a 19-year-old was arrested Tuesday after police say he and 2 others attacked 3 people outside a shopping center in Kentucky, for saying, "Say cheese." A man and two women pulled into the parking lot of Maloney's and Harry's American Bar and Grill, planning to grab dinner. As they drove past the entrance, they noticed a group of teens, later identified as Seth Jones, Malaki Weathers Parker, both 19, and a few others, posing for a photo in front of the restaurant. As the group passed by, a man jokingly shouted, "Say cheese," but what was meant as a lighthearted remark didn't land that way. Police say the teens were offended for some reason, and they weren't about to let it go. So things got really stupid really fast. According to police, punches started flying, and the others joined in, pummeling the man. One of the women tried to intervene, pulling a metal baton from her purse in an attempt to break up the fight. But that just gave Jones a weapon. He wrestled the baton away, tackled her, and began giving her the beating of a lifetime before turning back to the man, striking him repeatedly with the baton before swinging it at a second woman's head, knocking her unconscious, and throwing it at her while shouting obscenities as they fled.
One of those victims was knocked unconscious with their own metal baton, and that caused a concussion and a brain bleed.
When Jones was arrested, he told officers he got involved because he felt disrespected by the "say cheese" comment.
All right, I don't get it.
I don't either. He's hot. He runs hot.
Man.
They said "say cheese," and to him that was disrespected. You know, so in the story, they actually left the angered teens to drop someone off, thought about it, and got so mad they decided to come back and hunt these people down.
This is one hell of a neighborhood.
A hardcore rock band imploded just weeks before a Coachella performance after the guitarist drained the band's funds and then blew it on what's been described as a, quote, unbelievable amount of OnlyFans subscriptions.
Oh, my God.
New Jersey-based Gel broke the news in a social media post announcing their breakup and blaming what they called the heinous acts of 28-year-old guitarist Anthony Webster, who they say made it impossible to move forward.
In a group statement from the other four members of Gel, the fingers are being pointed at Anthony Webster, former guitarist, as he was removed a few months previously, and now the band has decided they just cannot keep going after all the bad things that have happened.
The guitarist reportedly took sole control of their bank accounts, emptied them out, and used the money for rent, food, questionable Cash App transfers, and an eye and penis-popping number of OnlyFans charges. The band claims he also leaked nude photos of his own bandmates to Reddit, and got caught when he didn't properly cover his digital tracks. "We still don't even know why he did it," they wrote. In the post, the rest of the band didn't hold back. They described Webster as a little effing baby who faked being nice to people to win them over while making life miserable for those around him.
Hey.
The timing couldn't be worse. Gel had just wrapped their Australian tour and were gearing up for a massive year, a scheduled slot at Coachella, and mostly sold-out North American run, plus UK and European dates with bands like Volbeat. So they had a lot on the line, and unfortunately, they are no longer going to be able to be a part of that.
Just for the record, this is not the same Gel who has played our Rock the River boat cruise a couple of times and allowed me to play the old White Lion hit single Wait on drums. This is much different.
This is a New Jersey group.
Group of, well, that's musicians. They can be squirrely, can't they, Josh?
I've heard rumors.
Yeah. Squirrely.
A 40-year-old man from Tampa is at the center of a massive dump truck theft ring. Didn't know that was a thing. It stretched across multiple states, even. Detectives tracked a stolen truck to a business Friday where they caught the man in the act, allegedly tampering with the vehicle's VIN number. That bust led to a much bigger discovery.
The victims of these stolen dump trucks, you can imagine the financial impact it has on them, their families. This is their livelihood. This is how they make money. When that expensive piece of equipment isn't in service, they're not making money.
In total, investigators recovered 8 stolen dump trucks taken between 2023 and this year. The trucks were reported missing from all over Florida, with a few traced to Georgia and South Carolina as well.
During the search warrant, they're able to recover 3 stolen dump trucks. They also see the same thing at the lot across the street. They get a secondary search warrant, go over, and they get 3 more stolen trucks.
The estimated value of the stolen trucks is $1.2 million.
I didn't know that was a thing either.
Yeah. In a sweeping effort to tackle the sharp rise in retail theft across the metro, Roseville police arrested 29 individuals as part of a coordinated crackdown. Among those arrested was a suspect linked to a major felony theft case involving more than $25,000 in stolen merchandise.
So these were not brand new people. A lot of them were known to the store employees, and that's why we were able to be so successful.
The theft spanned several cities: Roseville, Maplewood, Richfield, Oakdale, Apple Valley, Maple Grove, Eden Prairie, and Rochester, dating back to June. As part of the operation, Roseville's dedicated retail crime unit worked closely with local stores and instructed to report those thefts in real time. They were then deployed immediately, often arriving on the scene before the suspects had time to flee. Meanwhile, police staff monitored suspects and vehicles from multiple locations, guiding units to intercept getaway drivers.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, and it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
The Minnesota Organized Retail Crime Association said over the last several months, more than 8 blitz operations have led to 98 arrests, involving tens of thousands of dollars in stolen merchandise, vehicles, drugs, and other property.
That sounds really cool. Blitz operations.
That does sound cool, doesn't it? A serial bank robber who moonlights as a crime novelist could be back in federal prison before his next book comes out. The 41-year-old serial bank robber with a taste for luxury cars knocked off 2 banks near Detroit just a year after getting out of prison for the same thing.
He really thinks he's something. I mean, in his mind, he thinks he's the real deal, like, modern-day Bonnie and Clyde without a gun. I'm going to defend myself. It's like, dude, get with it.
The first hit came March 6th. A man strolled into the credit union, casually handed a teller a note, and said, "This is a robbery." He asked for big bills, and he walked out with $10,000, making his getaway in a Mercedes. But he left more than just a trail of cash behind. Investigators lifted fingerprints from the front door, matching them to Dorian Sykes, who conveniently happens to drive a Mercedes. 6 days later, another bank job, this time at a Chase Bank, and this time driving a Rolls-Royce.
This clown got in a Rolls-Royce and a Mercedes. Most people have a nondescript car, and they do that because they don't have a lot of money. But again, he's a legend in his own mind.
Who is this guy?
He's a retired investigator.
Oh.
Authorities didn't have to look far. Cell phone records placed him near both banks at the exact time of the robberies. And he has a history of not getting away with bank robberies. In August 2019, 6 weeks after finishing a 17-year sentence for failed bank robberies, he wasted no time getting back to work. That summer, he hit 2 more banks while still on federal supervised release. When he's not robbing banks, he apparently spends time behind the keyboard crafting some crime stories, poorly as well. He's written numerous non-bestsellers, including one set to come out in May.
He has hardcore main character syndrome.
He wants to be the guy. Well, you write what you know, right?
He's not selling a lot of books,
No, he's not.
He went platinum 0 times.
No times whatsoever.
Oh, I'd love to see those books.
Never once.
Yeah, I'll get you one for a nice little baby present, Ashley.
Thank you.
A Hollywood director who once had Netflix in a bidding war has been arrested after trying to pull off a massive $17 million scam against the streaming giant. Carl Rinch, best known for directing the 2013 Keanu Reeves action movie 47 Ronin, was arrested in L.A. Tuesday after turning his Netflix-funded sci-fi series White Horse into his own personal jackpot. Instead of delivering the ambitious thriller he pitched, the director burned through millions of risky stock market bets, crypto gambles, and an absurd shopping spree, snagging 5 Rolls-Royces, a Ferrari, and even 2 mattresses, which somehow had a $1 million price tag.
$1 million mattresses?
Mattresses, yeah.
I'll be.
Netflix had high hopes for White Horse. They dropped about $70 million into the project after a fierce bidding war. The series was supposed to follow a scientist who creates a human-like species that turns against its makers. But as production dragged on, he kept claiming he needed more cash, pushing for additional funds to, quote, finish the project. He never delivered a single episode.
This guy's a big shot.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some success, certainly. If the director is convicted, he faces a maximum term of 90 years in prison. 90 years.
Suck me sideways.
Birthdays today. Jessica Chastain turns 48. Peyton Manning, 49. Congratulations to Snot Rocket Jesus on her first day at her new second full-time job. She's a Sanitech at Enviromaster.
Huh?
Sounds cool.
CNC lathe machinist guy, that is back at work after taking last week off. He brought a new member to the Sisterhood. Thank you for that. Congratulations. Happy birthday to Dirty Sanchez Jesus from Chandler Welder Jesus. And happy golden birthday to Jake from Gigi, and that's 93X News.
A live turtle in his pants.
Yes.
That's a lot to pack in your pants.
Randy Shaver on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
This has hurt, man. It's been a rough, I ain't gonna lie, man, between Junior Bridgman, Oliver Miller, it's been a rough week. And now Mr. Foreman, when that thing came, man, it hurts a lot because, you know, he was obviously one of the greatest boxers ever, but just a gentle man, was a pastor, and this just hurts, man. It's just plain and simple. That's nothing I can say. My condolences to his family.
Yeah, you know, we had an opportunity to talk about Big George Foreman a little earlier on, Randy Shaver, but we'd love to hear your thoughts as well on the passing of the one and only George Foreman.
Well, obviously, it's just another sad loss for someone my age who, you know, looked at boxing maybe different than a lot of people did growing up. Boxing was such a big thing when I was between 8 and 18 years old.
Especially the heavyweight champion.
The heavyweight championship was like one of the biggest things you could ever watch on TV when I was growing up. And, you know, Muhammad Ali and George Frazier.
Joe Frazier.
And, of course, George Foreman. You know, long before Mike Tyson and guys like that, those were the guys that you idolized in that sport. So between that and my love for his grill, I just...
Good grill.
Yes, it was. Just a very sad thing. I when I heard the news, I kind of stopped and I went down the deep dive and read, you know, all sorts of different articles that came out and, you know, all the things that people were saying about him. And, you know, it's just another one of those heroes when you were growing up that's gone. So.
You know, I read a comment from his family after he passed. George Foreman passed over the weekend at 76 years old. Josh talked about it already in his news report, but did we get a cause yet?
No, they haven't said.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I checked this morning and I didn't see anything, so since then, perhaps.
I just didn't know if the man was sick. But I read a quote from his family who jumped on social media to talk about him. And where is this line? Oh, this is perfect, what they said about George. They say he was deeply respected. He was a force for good.
Yeah.
We don't have many George Foremans left out there. People who always try to be kind. Too many of us only want to be hateful and hurtful.
A different era, though, too. I mean, in the era that George Foreman was big, kindness was a big thing. I mean, to be quite honest,
it was a popular thing to be, kind.
Yeah, it was just a different time. And
now sometimes the bigger prick you are, the more you're loved.
Yeah, in some ways, I think, yes. But, you know, I can't think of a time where there was someone who said something bad about George Foreman or, you know, had anything bad to say about the man. He just always had a smile. Again, he turned into such a great pitch man later in his life that I think a lot of people remember that, I think, sometimes more than they remember his actual, in the prime of his life, boxing career.
His athletic career, yeah.
Yeah, he was so great later, too, obviously, when he made the comeback.
That was
like 8 years after he retired, he came back.
I thought that was so ridiculous.
It was crazy.
I doubted it when he came back and whatever.
Everybody doubted it.
Late 80s, I thought, are you kidding me?
Everybody doubted it.
And then he ends up, what was the name of the guy he just broke the guy's jaw off? Michael Moore, was that his name, who George knocked out to become champion when he was 45 years old? I can't remember if that was the guy, but, you know, when he first turned pro, some of the things I read about George yesterday, when he first turned pro, he won 37 fights in a row as a 19-year-old kid when he first started off. And then, like you mentioned,
such a physique, too, when he was young.
Oh, when he was young?
Oh, my God.
He was a brick wall.
He was a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and his bouts with Ali and his bouts with Frazier, the Rumble in the Jungle. You know, if you want to find someone to say something bad about George Foreman, you got to go back to when he was a kid, because when he was a kid, he was a crook.
Yeah.
You know, and talk about an example of how you can turn your life around. When he was a kid, he dropped out of school, he was robbing people. So you'd have to go back to his neighborhood in the friggin' 50s or something to find someone to say something bad about George.
I bet he was still polite, even robbing someone.
Be pretty cool to say you got your wallet stolen by George Foreman.
Yeah, what are you going to do, fight back?
Yeah,
Heck no.
exactly.
But he did something a lot of folks can't do. He righted himself.
Yeah.
And became, I mean, not only one of the greatest boxers of all time, but one of the most recognizable icons in American history.
Yep, for sure.
Josh mentioned this also, but it always needs to be mentioned when you talk about George Foreman. Married 5 times. All right, so he had an argument or two in his lifetime, I guess. Married 5 times, 12 children. All 5 sons are named George. 7 daughters. 1 named Georgetta. I don't know what the hell he was doing there, but he was a wonderful guy.
I love it so much.
Nobody
Just
can
easier to remember.
Yeah. No one can quite explain that.
No.
But other than that, he was a wonderful guy.
NWO
wonderful
Jesus.
guy.
NWO Jesus pointed this out via text. One of my favorite anecdotes is George Foreman and Hulk Hogan had the same agent back in the day when they were both retired. And he got 2 offers for his clients. One was a grill. One was a protein shake type situation.
Mm-hmm.
So he called them both up, left messages. Neither of them answered. Said, hey, I got these 2 things. You can either put it on a grill, you can put it on a protein shake. Call me back, let me know what you wanted. George called back and said, I'll take the grill. Hogan said, all right, I guess I'll take the protein shake. One of them went on to make millions of dollars, and nobody's ever heard of the Hulk Hogan protein shake.
I heard George in an interview say he didn't want the grill at first. His wife convinced him. His wife had one and used it and said, you have to sell this grill. It's incredible. So that's how she's the one that talked him into it. And earlier we played a clip. He was making $5 million a month for a while selling that grill.
That's just insane.
Hogan had to end up taking a hard right turn and opening a spaghetti store at the Mall of America.
I never went there. Was that Pastamania?
Pastamania.
Yep.
I never made it. I was open for like a week.
It was not open long.
I went to Pastamania when they cracked the lid on that joint.
Was it any good?
No.
Oh, no. I was going to say, they probably couldn't screw that up, but they did, huh?
It was lukewarm noodles with ketchup on top is what. But I only had it one time. This is great. You know, some older boxing fans or younger boxing fans who know the history have been texting in and wishing condolences to George Foreman's friends and family. This text here, Randy Shaver, goes this way. Wasn't Muhammad Ali the one who invented the rope-a-dope strategy as a fighter? And isn't that what helped him beat George Foreman during the Rumble in the Jungle? And I think you're accurate with that statement. My memory is that Ali invented, if that's the word, that strategy.
Absolutely.
Where you take
some punches.
You take some shots. I mean, Muhammad Ali will
All
always
fight he did.
Yes, Muhammad Ali will always be remembered as a great puncher, but the beating that man could take, I think, doesn't get mentioned often enough. And
the strategy was to have George Foreman tire himself out,
right,
by punching, and it worked.
And a lot of boxers copied that strategy, mainly Rocky Balboa against Clubber Lang in Rocky III.
It's true.
Just wore him out.
True. So Ali was taking these shots to the jaw all night long from George Foreman, who is widely known as the hardest hitter the game has ever seen. Ali is taking these shots to the noggin all night long. And then, Randy Shaver, I'm sure you remembered how Ali would really, I mean, he would act so addled, just, arms at his side and like he's about ready to do the Ric Flair, nose dive down. And then he would come back to life.
Yep.
George is tired, and he would knock his ass out. Thank you for the text, because it's fun to reminisce about things like that. All right, Randy Shaver. Let's cover our significant other NCAA Basketball Bracket Challenge. We're down to the Sweet 16 after a very exciting weekend of basketball. And it's a close race. If you're just tuning in, all of our significant others were asked to fill out a bracket to represent us. And we didn't really have a prize for the winner, but the loser has to buy drinks, beers, and lap dances at a later date. It's close. So far, it's close. It's the first time I've ever had to be the organizer of a bracket.
Yeah, how's that going?
Doesn't it? It's a lot of arithmetic.
Yeah.
And a lot of paying attention to this and that and the other.
Right.
As you guys know, you know how these brackets traditionally go. You know, you get 1 point for a correct prediction in the first round, and they double from there. 2 points in the second round, 4.
Oh, that's how we're doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me give you the leaderboard, if that's how they say it. Leading all significant others with 54 points already. Your old lady, Randy, Roseanne.
Yeah.
Here's the bad news.
St. John's.
Her national champion is gone.
Yeah. But that's okay. As long as the other ones keep winning, we'll be okay.
National champion gone. Second place, Ashley's fiance.
Nice.
50
Attaboy.
points. 50 points. All 4 of his final 4 teams are still alive. Third place would be Cubby's wife, who by Thursday morning, she'll be having sex with a 50-year-old man.
That took me a second.
Oh,
Wow.
you mean me?
Has that dawned on her yet? That
Yeah,
soon
she mentioned that yesterday, actually.
she probably she never thought she would give it up to a 50-year-old man.
Hey, Josh, just do us proud, will you? Just do us proud.
I can't make any promises, but I'll try.
It's a hell of an effort, bud.
Just do us proud.
What did I say here? In third place, Josh's wife with 48 points. All 4 of her final 4 clubs are still alive. Then you go Dana's fiance, who will be his wife on Saturday. It's a big week around here, Randy Shaver.
Yeah, I guess.
Cubby turns 50. Dana gets married on Saturday.
And it's the baseball opener this week.
Oh, for Christ's sake, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
And someone asked me over the weekend, which is the bigger deal? Cubby's 50th birthday or Dana getting married? And I said, well, Josh only turns 50 once.
That's right.
And Dana's been married multiple times. So,
And I'd even argue that Ashley being pregnant is a bigger deal than me getting married a second time, too. So I'm third on the totem pole right now.
Dana's fiance has 48 points.
Okay.
Tied with Josh's wife, although her national champion is gone and 2 of her final 4 teams are gone. And then you go to my wife at 45 points with all 4 of her final 4 teams still alive. And bringing up the rear ski, Brad's wife at 42 points, but all 4 of her final 4 teams are still breathing. By the way, Brad, I forgot to mention from the get-go because we were talking about George Foreman, not here today because he's got to go to work.
He's actually in marriage counseling right now. He's really upset with his wife being in last place in the pool.
He is very competitive.
He is.
And I bet he's never won an argument. She's a lawyer.
Oh, yeah. He's
I
screwed.
forget that. Yep.
So over the weekend, the big upsets, I guess. Well, one big upset, would you say? That'd be St. John's being eliminated as
Yeah,
a
but
number 2 seed.
but if you watch that game, they deserve to lose.
They got whooped.
They could not make a shot to save their life.
And you know what?
That is the worst shooting team I've ever seen in college basketball be the number 2 seed.
And Arkansas didn't exactly shoot the lights out either, but they got the win.
But God, St. John's just, oh, brother.
Normally, I wouldn't be able to comment on such a thing, but now
Frustrating.
now that I'm, what's the word I'm looking for, organizing this bracket, I've paid closer attention to this tournament than I have in a couple of years, and I saw a comment from Rick Pitino, the head coach at St. John's, before the tournament started.
Oh, yeah.
And he said his number 1 concern is we are not a great shooting basketball team.
No, they are not. And they shot the lights out in the opening game against Omaha, from the 3-point line especially, but man, they could not make a layup. I think they were something like 4 for 25 in layups in the game. It was just awful.
That was Timberwolves type numbers when it comes to layups. And, you know, I guess the big exciting game over the weekend would be Maryland winning on that buzzer beater.
Oh, my gosh. Crazy.
Over, who the hell did they beat?
They beat Colorado State.
Colorado State, right.
Nico, man. Nico's going to be here this week.
That's what everyone believes, right?
Yeah.
The head coach of Colorado State will come over here and coach the U of M.
Maryland did the Gophers a favor.
So they can start working on next year's ball club as soon as possible.
Yeah, because the portal opens today.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I did not know that.
It is so stupid.
I was unaware that this portal thing. I saw a comment from John Calipari. Now his team is still alive, right? Arkansas.
Arkansas, yeah, they beat St. John's.
His complaint about the portal system. I read a comment over the weekend, and I did not. He says the portal opens Monday. We're preparing for our biggest game of the year, and at the same time, we're having individual meetings with the players about coming back or not.
When is it open, the portal? When? This Monday? Welcome to my world. So Monday, we're really preparing for a game, and we're having individual meetings about, are you coming back?
Yeah.
There he is.
Nuts.
Well, and the football portal opens during bowl time. Like in December.
Okay.
So, but I mean,
I did not know that.
I think the reason why it opens when it does is to allow students to make decisions so that they can transfer in time to start when class starts.
Jesus.
So I know,
what a mess.
It is a mess, especially for basketball right now, for these 16 teams that, I mean, if you think about it in the terms of all the basketball teams in the country, only 16 teams are still playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very small percentage of teams that are still playing. And I would argue that the 16 teams that are still alive, they probably don't have as many transfers in the portal because they have so much success.
Right.
One of the things I was reading is that what the portal has done, it has ruined the chances for mid-major teams to make like the Sweet 16. You don't see those teams end up losing players to bigger programs.
Right.
And it's true. I think there are 7 SEC teams in the Sweet 16 that the bigger schools will now, there'll be less upsets is really what it's starting to mean.
Yeah, that sucks.
For the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's just interesting to think a guy like John Calipari is let's say he's sitting with his point guard this morning.
Yeah.
Drawing up some plays for their next game against whoever that's against. And then he has to say, oh, by the way, you coming back next year or not?
Yeah.
That's just silly.
Well, you don't have to make a decision today. This is just when the portal opens.
Well, no, but you know what I mean.
Yes. So
we talk about the transfer portal and a lot of like D1 sports and how big of a deal it is, but it trickles down so far. I got a good buddy of mine who's he's a football coach on the staff up in North Dakota, and he talks about how this time of year, usually just getting ready for spring ball and stuff, he's calling leasing offices, trying to get guys out of leases, trying to get guys who are leaving the program to sublease their apartment to a guy coming in now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's just, he goes, football is all of a sudden such a small part of his actual job now because of the portal.
Ex-Tomcat mechanic Jesus is in a bracket at work, and he's in last place. He has only 17 points.
That's hard to do.
He picked a lot of upsets.
What did you do, dude?
What did you do, dude?
He picked a lot of upsets.
I'm in first place in a bracket with a bunch of buddies. And
Yeah,
it feels
but that doesn't
pretty
matter,
good.
does it, Ashley?
Nice.
It feels pretty good.
It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It's about how your significant other performs. All right, girls, ladies, I should say women's. The Golden Gopher women's basketball team won in the Women's Invitational. So now they will play here at home against Gonzaga. They're still going in that invitational deal. Boys High School State Tournament recap. Class A, Dawson Boyd claimed their first ever state title. Class 2A, Albany beat Waseca. Both those clubs were undefeated on the season. 3A, there was an upset over the top-seeded east side of Mankato Ball Club. And for Alexandria. Sorry, I forgot to write that part down. Class 4A, Wayzata destroyed Cretin-Derham Hall. That's their third title in 5 years. Wayzata's played in the state title game 5 straight years. I did not know that. And that's my hometown. Now,
State of high school basketball, Miami.
For sure.
You're never going to find me to be the lead voice on local high school basketball.
Oh, there's Nick again. He's out the bar stool talking to anybody who will listen about high school basketball.
I even get thrown by. I still have friends who are quite dialed into the high school sports scene, and
for their alma mater or just all of it?
I don't know.
Do
Well,
they have,
all
do they have
of it.
kids
I guess
age,
that wasn't a question where I don't know is a proper answer. Is it because of their alma mater or because they just love to follow high school sports? I guess they just love to follow high school sports because they'll comment on all different teams, not just the school that they went to. It's just
Do they have high schoolers?
No,
kids?
not all of them.
No, they're just into it. Huh?
Yeah. Like they'll sit at the bar and say, oh, yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, Blaine beat Fridley the other night. And I'll say, how the hell do you know that? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just odd to me. I kind of stopped being interested in high school sports when I got out of high school. But that's just me. At the NCAA wrestling finals.
How about that? What a terrible finish for Gable Steveson.
Yeah, the punk. I'm glad he never went to Eastview High School. Glad he went to Apple Valley.
Wait a minute now. You've said the opposite for years.
Look it up. It's online. He went to Apple Valley, not Eastview. We would never allow a loser like him in our school.
At the NCAA wrestling finals, a kid by the name of Wyatt Hendrickson from Oklahoma State University defeated Gable Steveson here from the U of M. And folks are calling it, or at least the announcer at the event called it the craziest moment in NCAA wrestling history.
This could be it! Oh my goodness! The biggest upset in the history of the NCAA! Could this be it? Yes! He has done it! That's crazy! Oh my goodness! This is the craziest moment in NCAA history!
Oh my God.
That audio's not sped up or doctored anyway whatsoever.
There's no pitching that. That's how he sounded.
That's how the man sounded.
So Steveson was looking to conclude what a lot of people believe is the greatest collegiate career ever.
Yeah.
Looking for his third national championship, but he was upset. He had a 4-2 lead on this Hendrickson kid late in the match, but Hendrickson scored a 3-point takedown, and he held on to Stevenson's ass for the remainder of the match.
This is the craziest moment in NCAA history!
Mickey Mouse.
Wow.
That guy wet his pants.
Yeah, he did.
Is it Daniel Cormier? I recognize the name. Anyone get the first name of that guy who was screeching like that?
No.
Cormier? The name sounds familiar. Anyway. So that's a hell of a deal. Too bad for Gable Steveson, but great for this kid from Oklahoma State who pulled off the huge upset.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big deal when Kurt Angle, who I truly believe, I know everyone chuckles because it's television wrestling and it's all fake. I truly believe that Kurt Angle is one of the greatest athletes to ever live. When Kurt Angle contacts you on social media and says, hey, dude, good job, that means something. Mm-hmm. Especially for wrestlers. I mean, world champion, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, NCAA champion. Kurt Angle could have easily played linebacker in the NFL, and he would have made records. He would have.
And on top of all of that, Kurt Angle also got to meet JoJo the Balloon Boy, so that's also very impressive.
So cool.
That is a fun story.
One of the greatest things I've ever seen in person in my life was when a bunch of us got a chance to meet Kurt Angle when he was hotter than hell in the WWE. Matter of fact, he had just won the King of the Ring tournament, which I predicted, by the way. A lot of folks were picking Benoit. I said, no way, it's going to be Kurt. Kurt Angle had just won King of the Ring, and he had a visit planned at the Mall of America, and a handful of us got to go meet him before he walked out into the foyer or whatever they call it and meet all the folks. It was really, really cool because I was a fan. So it was me and Big Al and a number of other dorks, including a local phenomenon around here by the name of JoJo the Balloon Boy. Randy, did you ever get a chance to meet JoJo the Balloon Boy?
I did not, no.
JoJo was...
I think your station had him on, like the morning show, had him on a few times.
Yeah.
He was a big deal for a while.
JoJo would go to every event in town and tie balloon animals, and he was JoJo the Balloon Boy, and everybody loved him. And he was just a kid, for Christ's sake. I'm gonna guess he was still in high school on this day when Kurt Angle came to the Mall of America.
Well, remember, he won a car for his signature balloons before he was even old enough to drive. He was like known,
so awesome,
world famous for making these balloons.
World famous?
Yeah, and he had, like, I think he even trademarked one of his designs. It was nuts.
So this is one of the greatest things I ever saw. So we're all sitting in a room waiting for Kurt Angle. And like I said, he couldn't have been more popular at the time. So everyone knows that Vincent Kennedy McMahon, when he's got his top guys cooking, he runs them ragged. Kurt Angle was wrestling every night of the week. But he still was obligated to do this appearance at the Mall of America. And Angle walked in, and he looked like he'd been run over by a bus. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. He just looked terrible. He's exhausted from the road. And you could tell by the look on his face, he was not terribly interested in this meet and greet. Who could blame him? Right. All he wanted to do was go to friggin' sleep. This is like 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Angle walks in, and the first person to say anything is 17, 18-year-old JoJo the Balloon Boy, who had created for him a balloon crown because he had just won King of the Ring. Kurt walks in, and JoJo Balloon Boy goes, "Hey, Kurt, I'm JoJo the Balloon Boy." There's dead silence for quite a stretch of time, and this is all that Kurt Angle was able to give in that moment. He said, "JoJo the Balloon Boy, huh?" As if to say, I showed up for this.
When I was dreaming of glory one day, that this is what I really had to look forward to.
The first person I'm presented with is someone who calls themselves JoJo the Balloon Boy. He was very kind to everybody, but you could tell at that very moment, that's the last thing he wanted someone to say to him. The Pigs are back at it tonight, coming off a win Saturday here at their home rink. The boys are in Texas tonight to face the Dallas Stars. The local paper makes a note here that the Pigs play three of the top teams in the Federal League this week. Tonight at Dallas, tomorrow night, and Thursday at home versus the Vegas Club and then the Washington Capitals.
Yep. That's right. Ovechkin's here this week, Saturday, right?
Something like that. I don't have the
I think
Saturday
Thursday
or Sunday. Oh, he's here Thursday?
Yep.
Gotcha.
So this ought to be something. As the late, great Jerry Reed said in the Smokey and the Bandit documentary, hang on to your ass, Fred. 3 big games this week. Gopher women's hockey lost in the Frozen Four to Wisconsin. The University of Minnesota men's hockey club finally was seeded along with the rest of the hockey clubs yesterday for their national tournament.
Yep.
Again, I have to voice my frustration again. It's so stupid the way NCAA hockey drags this out.
Oh, for sure.
It's so dumb. They've already had a week or so off?
Yeah.
And then they seed them, and then they play on Thursday, and then they take another week off before the Frozen Four because they don't want to compete with basketball.
They don't want to compete. It's really dumb.
It kills any momentum the season had. I'm sure I'll be all fired up on Thursday, but it's just a shame.
College hockey just needs to embrace being their own thing. They're never going to compete with basketball. Just do it on your terms, your schedule.
Right.
The fans will find it. They love it.
Right.
It's not like you're splitting not too many fans.
That's right.
The NHL made the same mistake when they expanded. You should have just been happy with where you were at instead of striving for something that's unreachable. And that's how you get teams like the completely unnecessary Seattle Kraken. Because you're not satisfied. Anyway, Golden Gophers will be playing in Fargo. And their first matchup will be against the Massholes, the University of Massachusetts Minutemen. That'll be Thursday night at 7:30. The rest of their bracket, what is this now? They'll play the winner if the Golden Gophers beat Massachusetts. They'll play the winner of Western Michigan, who I understand are just a bunch of animals this year and very tough to beat. Western Michigan faces all those 35-year-olds from Mankato.
And those are the only 2 teams from Minnesota in the tournament.
Well,
St. Cloud State's not in.
They were awful
UMD's
this year.
not in. Yeah.
Well,
This is the down year for Minnesota collegiate hockey.
I suppose that's one way to look at it. Now, if the Golden Gophers are to get to the Frozen Four, they're going to have to go through the number 1 overall seed, I believe, is Boston College, who is also in their bracket. Yeah. The other side of things, you got the top seeds are Boston College, Michigan State, Maine, and Western Michigan. So that'll start Thursday. Going forward on Thursday. Timberwolves on the road tonight to play the Indiana Pacers, a rematch of their friggin' mental showdown last week where the Pacers played the game of their lives.
Yeah. And the Pacers will likely have all of their pieces back tonight, too. So
Anthony Edwards is listed as questionable with a right thumb laceration.
I'd be A1 from day one.
He'll play tonight.
Yeah, I would guess so.
Yeah, throw some tape on.
So, I mean, there's just too much on the line right now to be taking games off, especially for the Wolves, who sit in this precarious 7 position to get out of the play-in game. They're going to need to win, probably 8 of their final 10, because the Clippers are playing great. I watched them last night. Golden State's sitting right there. Memphis is falling a little bit. They've got a chance to get out of that play-in game, and that's going to be critical.
They got to get it done.
It's crazy. The 6, 7, and 8 is Warriors, Wolves, and Clippers, and all 3 of them got 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah. And, Dallas has now fallen out of the playoff picture, and that's not surprising considering all the injuries they have. Phoenix has worked their way into the 10 spot, which I think is a much more difficult, opponent for whoever they would have to match up in the first round of the play-in. So,
did you see what the Timberwolves did for Joe Ingles on Friday?
It was awesome. Yeah. It was awesome.
Friday night's game with the New Orleans Pelicans at Target Center, and the Wolves just curb stomped the Pelicans and kind of made right that loss a couple nights prior. But I turned on the television, and they flashed the starting lineup, and I see Joe Ingles in the starting lineup. Veteran player, if you're not familiar, doesn't get many minutes. I see Joe Ingles in the starting lineup, and I thought, well, what the hell's going on? Somebody get sick? Someone get hurt? It was a nice gesture by the head coach, Chris Finch. They explained it fairly quickly when I was watching television, and it's a wonderful reason. Before last week, Joe Ingles' son, Jacob, had never watched a full NBA game in an arena because his son is autistic and struggles with sensory overload. So the kid, even though his dad plays in the NBA, has not been able to experience a game just sitting in the arena with everybody else. Well, it worked well for him a night or two prior to Friday's game against the Pelicans. And so they thought, okay, let's put the kid in the seat, in the regular seats again and let him keep going with this. Chris Finch put Ingles in the starting lineup so his kid could see him start, because the prior game that the kid was able to watch with the crowd, Joe didn't play.
Yeah.
Finch puts him in the starting lineup, knowing his kid is right there in the stands to see dad play ball, and the crowd loved it. How could you not? After the game, Joe Ingles said, people get fired every day. Players get traded. It's a brutal business. The fact that Coach Finch even considered it shows a lot about who he is. And Finch was emotional after the game talking about it. Great deal.
Sometimes you got to do the human thing. We always talk about all these minutes matter, and those minutes matter for another reason. Guys were behind it, and I think it gave us just the right boost that we needed and change of energy. So it's not often that you get to do those types of things, but we're really happy that we could.
Yeah, not only was it a good thing for Joe and his family, but I think it kind of reset the Timberwolves.
No,
as weird as that may sound, I think it kind of reset them a little bit. I think it wasn't just about the game. There was that, and he only played 6 minutes, but it was about what it meant in the moment. And I think it has kind of cleansed everybody's palate a little bit. I think it was obviously it was a very nice move by Finch for Joe and his family, but I think on another level, it kind of reset the team a little bit too.
Well, that may be true. It was a nice deal. Regular season baseball begins for the Twins on Thursday. Can you effing handle that?
They have two more games in Florida. Today and tomorrow, and that's it.
It's wrapping up, and we'll go crazy with the Twins starting on Thursday. We'll talk
and
up
they
and
are
down.
so banged up. They've lost. Between Royce Lewis and Brooks Lee and Michael Tonkin and another one of their pitchers, they're so banged up.
Well, it can happen.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Glenn Perkins this week.
Good.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Fun.
Our first chat of the baseball season with Glenn Perkins. So spring training is close to being wrapped up. Friday. Yes?
For some teams, it is wrapped up. Yesterday was their last games.
Friday, the Blue Jays, Toronto Blue Jays, were playing a spring training game down in Florida against somebody, doesn't matter. A Blue Jays fan sitting behind home plate, television cameras pointed right at him, right? Pulled down his shorts and his underwears and mooned the television camera. He appeared to be talking to someone on the telephone, if you watch the video. He appeared to be talking to someone on the telephone who maybe put him up to it or something.
Hey, Larry, can you see me? Am I on camera?
Right, all
That's
that.
exactly what it must have been.
He's got his lady sitting with him. She's laughing. She made kind of a half-hearted attempt to stop him, but he spins around, pulls his pants and his underwears down, hauls his ass right out for everyone to see. Was he arrested?
I haven't seen anything saying that. It's up on 93x.com.
If the pitcher had been looking up at the time, he would have just seen ass crack.
TMZ had said they reached out both to the ballpark and to police to see if anything happened, and they hadn't received a response.
This guy must have been drunk. If he got away with that, wow. Lucky bastard. Many years ago, I went to the Metrodome with one of my coworkers at the time, a guy who passed on, unfortunately, way too young. How long ago was it, Josh, that our old pal Crazy Cabbie passed away?
Oh, yeah, a handful of years ago. Let's see.
Oh, was it that long ago already?
A couple years ago. I can't remember.
I can't remember. But
it was just last year?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that.
It seems longer to me.
Crazy Cabbie, some of you might know him as Cabby. He worked on KQ. He started here, worked on KQ, worked for Howard Stern. He and I were pretty tight for a while there. We had a lot of good times. And we went to a Twins game, Randy Shaver, at the old Metrodome. Mm-hmm. Albert Bell was in left field for the Cleveland Indians that night.
Okay.
And Albert Bell was not a popular guy amongst big league baseball fans at this point in his career. He had done some crazy things. If I remember right, didn't Albert Bell try to run some kids down with his car one afternoon? He was nuts. Albert Bell was nuts.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's not many people because the Twins were awful. This is like late 90s. And Cabby and I are in the left field seats. I mean, we're more or less nose to nose with Albert Bell. And Cabby starts giving Albert Bell a lot of grief. Well, Albert Bell doesn't back down from that kind of thing. He turns around and he starts hollering all kinds of profanities at Cabby. And both of them are loud enough to get the attention of security. Security's now watching Cabby and Albert Bell holler back and forth at each other. And Cabby starts reaching for his pants. And I said, don't do it. Don't friggin' do it. And he looks at me and I said, dude, security's watching you right now. Don't do it. He smiles. Cabby pulls down his pants and underwears and moons Albert Bell and was promptly thrown out of the old Metrodome, leaving me to sit there in my left field seat alone like a jagoff for the rest of the night because he got thrown. He had to do it. I told him not to do it. He did it anyway.
You're right, Nick. So in October of 95, Albert Bell was at home. It's Halloween. He turned away some trick-or-treaters like, yeah, I don't got anything for you. Get the hell out of here. They turned around and egged his house. And then that's when Albert got in his car and started chasing them.
Is this video up on our website, Ashley? A golfer set off the sprinklers on the golf course after slamming the sprinkler with his club at an event called the 2025 Valspar Championship.
Yes, it is.
That was funny.
Did you watch the Valspar Championship, Randy Shaver?
I did not, no.
What an idiot. I hate when people get mad like this in general on the golf course. But watch where you're
I played with
watch
so
where
many
you're slamming your club.
So many guys who Perk is the worst, man.
Really?
I've never
wow.
seen. I play golf with Perk once a summer. We always go up to the Classic up in Madden's with a couple of other buddies, and it is. I think we take a number before it starts. How many times he'll throw his clubs, and I've seen him toss his club into a pond, up in a tree.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, it's just. I mean, guys like that. There are, and he's not the only guy I've ever played with that has, loses it when they hit a bad shot.
Well, if I go out there, I want someone to go mental. It's the only thing that's going to.
Sure.
That's the only thing that's going to keep me interested.
I can't ever justify it because it's just too expensive to do that to any of my clubs. My fiance threw one in a tree once, but he had a smile on his face while he was doing it, so it wasn't too angry.
This golfer goes by the name of Adam Hadwin. He was having a tough round Friday, and it got even worse. He gets pissed off. He slams his club down on one of the sprinkler heads, and it triggers the sprinkler to go absolutely haywire.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
That video is so funny.
Water just pouring out. He's left looking like a jagoff, embarrassed. If I remember from watching the video, he makes contact with that sprinkler head with his golf club. The water starts pouring out, and you can hear him say almost immediately, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, to hit a sprinkler head perfect like that when you're just walking and you don't know it's there, that's the odds of that are like astronomical. So.
Oh, he meant to hit this sprinkler head.
He was looking for it?
Oh, there's not a doubt in my mind. He looked right down and smacked the club. There's no doubt he meant to do this.
Okay. All right.
And he just had to sit there like a moron and wait for someone to come over and shut it off. That's how that played out. Oh, God. Well, we got to go in a couple of minutes, I guess. So I'll throw this your way, Randy Shaver. The New York Giants football club signed Jameis Winston to play.
Your buddy.
I love Jameis Winston. Josh and I are both big fans. He's fun. He's funny. He gets the job.
Does that mean he'll be Aaron's backup?
That's the rumor.
Aaron's going to go to the Steelers.
Yeah, I thought that meant.
Aaron.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think Aaron, once the Steelers traded for Metcalf, I think you'd be a fool not to go to Pittsburgh.
Who the hell is Metcalf?
DK Metcalf signed as a free agent. Yeah.
I lean more towards the Karen playing here for the Vikings, but the rumor is the Giants have signed Jameis Winston to be the backup, and they're still looking to sign Karen. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Yes, you know what I'm saying.
We talked about college basketball coaches, and we're waiting for Nico Medved. Sounds like he's going to be the gopher. The guy at Drake, who I talked about last week and the week before, Ben McCollum, has agreed to be the Iowa new head coach.
Who hates Iowa?
We hate Iowa.
So he spent 1 year at Drake. He won over 30 games.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. Just a phenomenal coach. And now he'll coach the Hawkeyes and take over for Fran McCaffrey.
Fran's retiring?
No, he just got dismissed.
Oh, well then why don't the Golden Gophers get Fran?
Oh, God, no. Please.
Why not?
No.
I love that guy. He melts down.
He does melt down.
I love that.
He is, I don't think that's what you need.
Oh, well, he's been very successful, and you got to see this Fran guy.
He has been. Yes, he has been.
Every game, he gets into a spaz out, and he starts I can't even keep up.
Turns red.
And he's speaking 1,000 miles an hour. I love that about Fran. All right. Okay, so the guy from Drake, he's staying.
Ben McCollum.
Remaining an Iowegian.
Yep.
All right. Well, a lot of folks think, it's just a matter of time for this. Miko, whatever the hell his name. He's one of your old bros, isn't he, Randy?
Nico Medved, yeah.
One of your old bros. All right, dude, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning, Randy Shaver.
Sounds good.
You got it. And text us, by damn, if you have a question that only an educated doctor could answer. 651-989-9393. Dr. P. Jesus is next on the Half-Ass Morning Show.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, X-Pac.
Getting suspended in school, that's the number one thing people, when they meet me, they tell me.
I got detention.
Yeah, everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, Liv Morgan.
I couldn't believe that was my time. I was so grateful.
Talking about living dreams. No pun intended, TJ. Relax.
I rarely do these anymore, but I was really looking forward to this.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Dr. P. Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, man. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to welcome our next guest into the mix. As we check in here at 8:27 on a Monday morning, a wonderful guy, always willing to help the brothers and sisters in our listening audience. Call 651-989-9393 if you have a health question for Dr. James Parnell. We gave him the handle of Dr. P. Jesus. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing great. Great to be here again. Monday morning.
Nice to have you back on Monday morning.
Would you like us to move you to a different day?
No.
That was a real subtle hint there, Dr. P.
No, honestly, it's Monday morning is fine, but it is for all of us. It's always a little bit of a struggle, right?
Oh yeah.
You got the whole week to look forward to. I love Mondays.
No, honestly, this is perfect. This seems like a great way for me to start off the week.
Well, we're happy to have you. You know, we were having some conversations earlier about warts. What did we want to ask Dr. P about warts before we get to our listening audience
How
questions?
you get them?
If they're contagious.
I mean, you get them through contact, basically.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. I mean, if you
Not sin.
Well,
there are certain.
I mean, sin doesn't help. I don't know that it
Never
hurts.
does.
But when I was a kid, I was talking about when I was a kid, I had a few on my hands, and I would cut them off, and we would go in to see the doctor, and they would freeze them, and none of it worked. When I cut them off, they would grow right back, and then one day they were no longer there. So how did I catch that? Skin to skin contact?
Yeah, I mean, probably skin to skin. I mean, it could be, I guess, skin to surface to skin, pretty quickly. But most of those viruses don't last too long on surfaces. But yeah, I mean, when you're young, especially now, you don't have any. There's no immunizations when we were kids for HPV of any kind. Now kids get some immunizations against certain types of HPV warts that cause more genital problems and cervix problems for women.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're exposed, you get a wart, and eventually your immune system says, okay, that's enough of that, and it deals with it. But it can be years.
So that must what happened with Nick, probably?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time people have warts, and they'll, it'll get under control. I don't know why. It does seem like, HPV genital warts are more stubborn.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I mean, I remember I had one on my hand. Maybe I've told this story before. I was in gym class, and they're making you do the rope climb.
Oh, I bet that burned.
Tore that sucker.
I bet.
Ow.
And they look so weird with like these little fronds kind of in there. Like
You tore it off with the rope climb.
Yeah, which probably gave it to a bunch of people.
Blood everywhere.
I can only hope so.
That's your legacy at school?
Yeah. Hartman Elementary.
He gave us all warts that year.
Yeah.
Beer and Pizza She's has checked in about her daughter. Her daughter's eyes, Hubba Hubba, by the way, Beer and Pizza She's. Bugging her for a month or two now. She said when she blinks, she can hear the fluid, even when her eyes aren't watery. What gives, she asks.
Her daughter can hear
Her daughter, yeah. I don't have an age here.
Boy. Hear the fluid. In a couple months? Is that what she said? Or
yeah,
a
couple months.
I mean, you wouldn't, normally you can get viral infections, you can get bacterial infections, conjunctivitis. Pink eye is typically viral, but that usually has a pretty short lifespan, and a bacterial infection of the eye is very unusual, and it's really nasty, so it's not that. Could be some allergy stuff. I mean, that's probably, allergic conjunctivitis is just annoying. The only thing I can wonder is if, I get that at certain times of year, more in the fall with like ragweed stuff, but you can get crusty stuff on your eyelids that maybe you would hear kind of as you open your eyes if they're stuck together, but I just can't imagine there being that much fluid going on. But there are over-the-counter eye drops that can be tried for, allergy symptoms. Patanol or Pataday is probably that's one that wasn't prescription even that long ago, and now it's over-the-counter, and that's really effective. But, if there's nasal congestion, things like that, that would confirm sort of allergy symptoms. But as always, it's if things are just continuing and really annoying, get it looked at.
I hear you.
So nothing too concerning, it sounds like.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, there's some unusual dry eye conditions, or it can be associated with various autoimmune things and stuff. But I mean, isolated like that, I wouldn't start worrying about those things.
Word.
Dr. P, have you ever diagnosed someone with complex regional pain syndrome? Or are you aware? I'm sure you're aware of what it is.
Definitely aware of it. It's it used to be called. Oh my goodness, why am I completely blanking? It used to be called. I'll remember it later. But reflex sympathetic dystrophy, I think.
Reflex.
Yeah, it's basically it is a
Duran Duran, 1984, I believe.
The reflex.
That's right.
That's a good song. It's usually, so if you have an injury in a certain area, sometimes a surgery, there's something that can happen where like the nerve controls and the blood vessel controls, and I guess it's probably all nervous system, but these things that are supposed to, adjust the blood vessel tone and how the nerves are sensing things, it all gets out of whack. It is like your TV on the fritz or something. And that area of someone's body just will have, it's like it's completely disconnected from the rest of the body. It'll sweat at different times. You can have weird pain. It can like look a different color. It can feel colder. And it's a really hard thing to treat, unfortunately.
Well, you've covered some of what this listener texted in about. You've covered it quite well. Diagnosed with complex regional pain syndrome a few years ago after a knee replacement surgery. Lately, I've been noticing both my legs are literally on fire, extremely painful. My left foot is swollen, very warm. Is there anything you would recommend for pain?
But both legs?
Yes.
I mean that would be unusual because it's usually one area, unless you had both knees replaced and you ended up with complex regional pain syndrome of both legs. But that seems weird, and it usually shouldn't cause redness. Well, I wouldn't think it would cause redness and swelling. It could, but I tend to think more of concerns about like a blood clot in a leg, which you're more susceptible to after you've had a knee replacement surgery or any kind of knee surgery or any kind of injury where you're sitting around more.
You had a knee surgery?
Yeah, I had knee replacements.
And you had replacements?
Yeah, and that's not a very common thing to happen after that. Fortunately, it's not a very common thing at all. But let's see, two parts. There are treatments that can help complex regional pain syndrome. It's mostly things that are used for other chronic pain or seizures or basically anything that kind of needs to just tamp down the nervous system and quiet it down a little bit.
Okay.
But in this case, I would get that looked at because especially if it's one foot, one side, swelling, redness, pain, you worry about a blood clot or some kind of circulation problem.
Appreciate it.
Candy Sheezes wants to know, is it lipase?
Yep.
Okay. She has a lipase level of 144 with upper abdominal pain that goes into her upper and lower back, lack of appetite. Can be signs of pancreatitis, and if so, what point should I go to the ER? She can't get into a CT scan until Friday.
Okay, well, lipase is an enzyme that is secreted by the pancreas, which helps digest various things. And one of the markers, if you have pancreatitis, which is inflammation of that pancreas, is the markers can sort of leak out into the blood and be elevated because you should have certain levels. I don't remember offhand what the upper limit of normal is for lipase, but presuming that it is high with that number. Her question was, what should she do?
Or should she go into the or what signs?
I wonder how she know. I mean, that's this. I'm just trying to put it together because if you typically you wouldn't know your lipase unless you had abdominal pain or went in.
She
had blood tests.
Had the pain.
So they're doing a CT scan to look for pancreatitis. I mean, if you truly are having pancreatitis, you basically need to keep hydrated and eat very simple things because it's really hard to tolerate eating much at all just because your pancreas is so involved in digestion. But yeah, I mean, if she's in miserable pain, she absolutely should go in because pancreatitis can get really out of control. One of the things, I mean, this is true of our digestive system. Like, if you think about it, your stomach secretes hydrochloric acid into itself. We have a protective layer in the stomach that doesn't let you digest yourself. And the pancreas has enzymes that break down tissue and things like that, or chemicals that you eat, but which your body is made of too. And so if the pancreas starts to kind of eat itself, basically, it causes unbelievable problems.
A lot of pain.
Pain and just basically again like auto digestion sort of, and it really can be a bad thing. So
she responded saying she had a yearly physical Thursday and that the numbers came back.
But she's not having symptoms?
She sounds like she is having symptoms. Okay. Stomach pain, lower back, lack of appetite.
Yeah, I mean, those are all signs of pancreatitis, I would say. Or gallbladder disease. I mean, sometimes gallbladder can, basically gallbladder, if you get a stone, so gallstones, not gallbladder disease, but gallstones, blocks the ducts that come from the pancreas and drop stuff into the intestines. And that can give you pancreatitis, but the primary problem is the stone. Yeah, I mean, if she gets the CT in the next couple days, I think that's probably fine.
Friday is what she said. That's good enough?
There you go.
Oh, you don't look like that's good enough.
I mean,
maybe sooner?
It depends what if she's been feeling this way for a little while, then it's probably not a terrible thing to wait a few days. If this is all escalated in the last, days or week and she's progressively getting worse, then yeah, I mean, I would.
Why not?
Hate to say, but I mean, you hate to send people to the emergency room and have them be there for a long time, but truly, if it's pancreatitis, that is something that needs to be identified quickly. And if she does perhaps have a gallstone that's blocking a duct, again, that's serious and needs to be addressed. Sometimes they have to do it's called an ERCP. I'll try to say what it actually stands for. It's endoscopic retrograde pancreatography. It is kind of cornholio.
Cornholio?
Yeah, it's but they go down into the stomach, into the small intestine, and they have like a little thing that goes bloop, and up through that little duct that drops, bile and pancreatic enzymes into the gut, and they can pluck out a stone.
Earlier we were talking about appendicitis, and there was a character we were discussing earlier who cut himself open to try to perform what would you call the procedure?
Appendectomy?
An appendectomy.
Like at the South Pole?
On himself. What?
Well, there was a guy, I think there is a story of a guy at the South Pole, like the medical, or the research station in Antarctica, who had to do that.
Oh, he did?
Oh, because there's no other options.
Right.
This was a doctor who performed surgery on himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was somebody who just tried it.
This was just some dude who tried it, and he cut himself a little too deep, and he almost bled to death. Self-surgery. It plays along with our conversation we were having earlier about warts. How many stories of self-home surgery have you heard in your career? Wow. You ever had to repair somebody who had mangled themselves in an attempt at home surgery?
I mean, lots of people try skin stuff.
Like what?
Well, I mean, trying to cut something, cutting open a cyst or poking it.
Oh.
And sometimes that can work. Sometimes it turns it into an infection. Just falling and accidentally having like a bowling pin in your butt count as
a million to one shot, Doc. Million to one.
Accidentally, sure.
Right.
You helped someone who had a bowling pin in their butt?
No, I made that up. But I mean, people do, and that's not an uncommon story in the emergency room. I fell in this cucumber.
Well, sure.
Somehow.
I did see you rescue a guy who playing pickleball whose kneecap ended up 3 courts over.
Yes.
That was bad. I saw you come to his
That's
rescue.
True. That was actually at the Randy Shaver tournament last year. Yeah, a guy ruptured his patellar tendon that connects your kneecap to your tibia, so the lower bone, and his kneecap was about a third of the way up his thigh.
Is that a cool
gosh, that's
feeling when
creepy.
people are yelling, "Is there a doctor in the house?" And then you're the doctor?
Here we go.
Or do you sometimes wait for someone else?
I mean, I don't know if it's a cool feeling. Mostly you're like, oh boy, what's going on?
Is it
my
like
day
that,
off.
Like that scene from Airplane? You have a stethoscope around your neck?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a doctor.
Right. And then I'm the first one to slap the person, and then everyone's in line.
Right.
Is that the doctor?
Oh, yeah.
But, So the skin stuff is probably the only thing I can think of. Appendectomy is,
This guy,
that's crazy.
He went and bought a scalpel at a drugstore or something, and he opened up a 7-inch hole in his stomach, and he went a little too deep.
Going back to Candy Sheez's question real quick, somebody texted in and said, gallstone, severe pancreatitis survivor here. It can kill a person. She should go in.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's what I was talking about.
Get your ass in there.
If you have a duct blocked by a gallstone and it's causing back pressure into the pancreas, it can really get serious. So
A few people are texting in saying that something similar. Go to the ER.
Yeah, if she's miserable, absolutely.
We got to take a break here in a minute, but first, one more quick question for Dr. P. Jesus, our guest in studio this morning. Leaky D. Jesus has texted in to say, sometimes when I wipe, there is blood. It lasts for about a week, and then it stops.
Is he wiping his D?
I think he means his bottom.
Okay.
Yes.
A week.
He has a leaky D,
but
he's having
also
troubles a few
backside.
inches backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Most common is hemorrhoids, which, if they're external, they can be uncomfortable and bleed. Internal hemorrhoids can be internal and bleed. It depends on your age, how long it's been going on.
Is there pain?
Is there pain? Yeah. I mean, it's always a good idea to talk to somebody, but I mean, it's just you don't want to ignore it.
No, that's never any fun when you look down and
No.
We'll be back at yes, Josh.
Oh, I was going to say, Dr. B,
that
before we... that was me that was jumping in.
That was Dana's voice. Sorry, yes.
Before we get off the topic of getting your appendix taken out, I have a question on that. I had a buddy in middle school. He got appendicitis. They had to take him down to the hospital, get it taken out. He went to the bathroom before he went under, and the pain got so bad that he passed out and got a concussion by hitting his head on the toilet. My question is, how long do we keep busting his balls for that thing that happened 25 years ago?
Until the end of time.
Okay. Yeah, I would think. And maybe if he's on his deathbed, you can not mention.
No, you got to remind him
even then.
Hey, you got to take a leak quick before you.
Did he gain a nickname from that?
No, we didn't really dump one on him, but we make fun of him constantly. Like anytime he's going to the bathroom, hey, be careful in there, pal.
You got to
Wow, poor guy can't even pass out from pain in peace.
That's terrible.
You got to call him Bowles.
Yep.
What up, Bowles?
Hi, everybody.
Dr. P. Jesus, welcome to the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X.
Back with Dr. P. He's gone ahead and fielded plenty of questions already from our wonderful listeners here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, and he ain't done yet. It's always only a matter of time before the pecker text messages start leaking in. Dr. P, this is a first for me. A listener says this now. Is it possible to pee too hard? Here's what happened.
I felt like that before.
Like you were pushing too hard?
Well, not that I was pushing, but I thought there's too much force here. I don't know if my pee hole can handle it.
Josh, sometimes when I pee next to you, it sounds like it's a fire hose getting sprayed into a 5-gallon bucket full of water.
Wow.
It's my narrow urethra.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was horsing around. You know the old story. He was trying to urinate on his girlfriend's car, like as a joke.
Okay.
Tried to pee on her windshield.
That old story.
Tried to pee on her windshield. He said, I pushed kind of hard. And then there was blood in his drawers.
Oh.
Woke up the next day, says it looked like I peed out a clot or something.
Oh.
But no blood after that. My pee-pee was a little tender. So is it possible that this guy, he busted a spring?
You
You ever heard of something like that? Is this guy joking with us?
I I mean, I guess I can't really think how that would all happen. I mean, you know, you can bear down just like you do to strain to push anything out, and that, you know, maybe, I mean, it basically squeezes your bladder a little bit, which might make the urine come out quicker. But I can't, unless you've already got something wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would end up with blood if he squeezed so hard he squeezed out a kidney stone or something. But that's insane though. That doesn't work.
Ouch.
You might as well, here, brother. Famous quote my brother dumped on me many years ago. You better get your pecker checked.
I mean, it's probably a good idea. Yeah.
You might have had something really wrong going on.
If his pee-pee is sore. Yes.
What the happened there?
Yeah.
Dental Babe Jesus said her husband hasn't been feeling well. Woke up in the middle of the night with chest pains. This was last night. Feeling, quote, like he was going to die.
What the?
He has 0 medical conditions. He's only 27, otherwise very fit and healthy. He recently started protein shakes and creatine. Could that be related? Not sure how concerned I should be.
27?
I mean...
If I felt like I was going to die, I'd consider going to the doctor.
Pains,
probably.
And you feel like you're going to die.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, as always, chest pains and a sense of doom or feeling like you're going to die. I mean, it's in a 27-year-old, it's probably not something severe, but you have to go in. I mean, a quick aside, a guy, actually, I'll say his name because just to honor him. Mark Wilmert was a guy who played pickleball in St. Louis Park. He also was kind of running things at Minneapolis Pickleball Club. And unfortunately, he died at the pickleball courts. And I think it was sort of a thing like this where he felt bad, maybe kind of stepped away, and then nobody was around when he died.
I'm sorry, did you say an age range?
In his 50s. But,
okay, so not.
But so it's just, you never know. I mean, I think that's the. So,
right.
For him, the odds are it is, maybe it's a side effect from those protein shakes, especially depending on what they have in them.
Really? So
I think, you know, they may have.
If they had some goofy stuff.
I mean,
in
they
there?
probably got some goofy stuff.
What is creatine?
I mean, it's
muscle building.
You swear by creatine.
You rub it on your skin, right? Is that the stuff?
Okay. I took it in powder form, like shakes.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's basically a protein essentially. And muscle has creatinine, which again I'm never clear on how that all works out. But there can be some benefits from using it, but usually it's high doses of stuff. But it could be panic attacks. It could be, who knows?
Yeah, for God's sake. I mean, anytime you feel that bad, even if you're a young guy who's in great shape or a young gal who's in, you gotta ask a couple questions.
Seems like a good idea to
Better
get
face to face with a doctor.
I mean, it's better to be safe than sorry. And yeah, I mean, again, if you feel like something horrible is happening, I guess my lesson in mentioning our friend Mark Wilmert is, if you're feeling like something really bad is happening, tell somebody and have them help you, and don't step away and think you're going to be sick and you need to be alone.
Sure. We were talking tattoos a day or two ago. Here's a listener who was diagnosed with anemia, and they're taking 3 iron pills a day. Am I good to get a tattoo, or should I pass on that for a few weeks?
I feel like we might have had that question one other time.
They ask you at the tattoo place if you have any medical conditions, and I think that's one of the ones they look out for.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they don't want to mess around.
They don't want the shop covered in blood.
Exactly. They don't want to mess around with that.
I mean, it depends, I guess, how... I mean, it should be fine. I guess I don't know why exactly that would be a problem. I mean, do you bleed with a tattoo? Not really much.
Yeah, you can.
Some can.
Depends,
Josh was telling us a story about one of his buddies that looked like a murder scene.
Yeah, I thought he was going to die, and I don't know if it was his upper back.
So
he had basically a bumper sticker size tattoo put on his upper back, and even the tattoo artist was like, "Bro, what is happening?" And he wasn't drinking, he wasn't on any medication or anything. He's very bleedy, I guess.
Bleedy, yeah. I mean, the thing is, anemia doesn't necessarily make you bleed more, because it's red blood cells. What controls bleeding is platelets and other factors in your blood. But if you're already starting at a low blood count, I would say probably just wait, unless it's an urgent tattoo need.
Yeah, an emergency tattoo situation.
Going to prison. I want to get one before I get there.
Maybe
You
you're-
can get them a lot cheaper in prison.
That's a good point.
What was that movie where the guy tattooed stuff on him to remember it? He had amnesia.
Prison Break.
Memento.
Oh, Memento.
Yeah, Prison Break was different. Yeah, Memento. I didn't see that. Is that any good? Looks good.
It's very confusing.
It's very confusing, but it's great.
Love
It's a
it.
good movie.
Rear Load Dumper Jesus said, so when I have sex with my girlfriend, I'll be fine. Does everything that's supposed to happen, right, one night. But then the next night, he can't do what's supposed to happen. And I'm curious, why is that happening? I'm only 26. So day 2, he can't bring it on the second day. By not what's supposed to happen, I should be specific, like at the very end, the grand finale.
Oh, he is saying that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So not erectile dysfunction.
Yeah,
but,
I realized that after I cleaned it up.
I mean, because that is a little. Oh,
So to
okay, I
speak.
see.
So to speak.
Okay, so not. So he's having. So his erectile functioning is fine. He is not reaching orgasm.
The second night.
The second night.
Yeah. First night he
I mean-
dominates. Second night it's disappointing.
I mean, all guys have a refractory period for basically usually getting another erection and being able to ejaculate. It can. I mean, that seems.
And he's only 26.
Right. It seems a little bit long for that. I mean, I know we've talked about delayed orgasm in other settings. I mean, medications, particularly antidepressants, anti-anxiety medicines, can delay orgasm.
Yeah.
So if he's on something like that, that wouldn't be a surprise.
What kind of a mess is he making on night 1?
Nights 1 and 3 and all the odd nights.
I mean,
so they're killing it.
You would kind of if his girlfriend's not around and say he was to do something sinful like masturbate.
Oh, no.
Could he
No,
typically have an
no.
orgasm 2 days in a row? I mean, just to kind of understand, like, is it physical for you or is it possibly a bit psychological, which is often what's going on.
I had a medical or a medication for my epilepsy that I thought killed my penis.
Yeah. So
You thought it did?
I
or-
thought my penis is dead. I didn't realize that could happen from the medicine.
But you fought right through it?
No. I mean, like I said, I thought it was broken.
Oh, you thought it was
I thought
permanently...
it was all done, and then somebody had said, "Well, dude, that's your medication."
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
So-
the medications might be a big factor there.
It's like the first thing
And
it
this
takes
person
out.
didn't say that, but you're saying this.
I'm saying
something
that-
to consider. I had no idea, so I'm glad you brought that up.
So the question about if he's on his own, does things work more normally versus when he's having sex with his girlfriend? It would help kind of delineate, is it are you having true like delayed orgasm from a physiologic condition, or is it just a little bit of nervousness, anxiety, performance anxiety, that stuff, which plays a big factor into that. So you need to ask more questions.
Butcher's hack. Jesus said, "Bro, 2 nights in a row, chill out, dude."
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good point.
Who are you trying to impress here? Is this true? Heart medications can do that to you as well from insomniac?
Yes.
Jesus?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, any medication.
Kill your rod?
They can
Is that
definitely-
what we're talking about still? Rod killing?
They can affect erectile function. Probably the blood pressure medicines, heart medicines tend to, I think, interfere with erection more than orgasm. Whereas the antidepressants, anxiety medicine, at least from what I have taught, patients I've had, it's more the orgasm issue rather than erectile.
Oh, well, I started taking heart medication when I was 20 years old, and one of the first things the doctor told me is this might kill your rod.
Yep.
I've been lucky.
They should tell you that kind of thing, like every time. And it sounds like you guys had that, but my neurologist never said a word.
Yeah, why did he not tell you
Probably
that?
he probably took one look at you and said, "This guy's not getting it."
Yeah, he's not going to notice the difference.
Yeah, and it's important for. I mean, that's a good point. If your doctor doesn't bring it up, then a lot of people are afraid to bring it up, and you hate to have people not having a good old time for years because they are afraid to ask. So please ask.
Of course, always ask. Before we go, there's a guy here who claims his foreskin gets chapped in the winter.
Bummer, man.
Ever heard of that?
Is he shoveling with it?
Aquaphor?
I mean, dry air and heat. Is he serious, you think?
I don't friggin' know.
I mean,
you're the doctor. You've either heard of that before or you haven't.
I mean, if you keep it in your pants and I don't know. If you could, you can use lotion on it. Put some
That's a dangerous proposition.
That kind of reminds me.
Is he checking the thickness of the ice on his favorite fishing lake, or what the hell's going on?
Or touching it to a frozen telephone pole.
Oh God!
You know,
just like putting your tongue on it.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this segment is when you gave a guy medical advice to masturbate and check back in with us and let us know how that goes.
I did.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to write a note for him.
Yeah, that's great. It was doctor-ordered masturbation.
Man.
Let us know,
Doctor's
man.
orders. They tried to explain that to everyone else on the city bus. that it was, doctor's
Got to clarify when. No, not then.
Now everyone else on the airplane is watching this now, but yet it's doctor's orders. We got to let you go. We got to get going, for God's sake. We're working overtime here. Thanks very much, Dr. P.
You bet, as always.
Retired liquor store Jesus is checking in from Mississippi on a little vacation. Appreciate you tuning in.
My God, a vacation in Mississippi.
Well, they're on their way to other places.
Oh!
Like. Right now they're in Mississippi.
Okay.
Congratulations to Tate and Nyla on their marriage this past weekend. And then happy birthday to Mike, a.k.a. Bumpa. Thanks, old buddy, from Reefer Van Jesus.
Hey, you beautiful podcast listeners. Seriously, you folks are the best. We don't tell you that enough, but you are. And we couldn't do this without you, and we couldn't have a podcast if it weren't for our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, you can save up to $7,500 on a mini-split ductless system or a high-efficiency heat pump combo with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. I know those are some fancy terms, but what it really means is they're going to make sure you're comfortable in your own house. And get this, they even take care of that rebate paperwork for you. Visit standardheating.com to lock in your deal and enjoy the show. And seriously, you guys are the best.